Good evening, party people. Welcome back to the Bar with an X. I say that not only to you, but also to myself, because I literally got back to the Bar with an X probably less than an hour ago, and I'm still in the process of unpacking. So I figured I'd take out some of the spoils from our adventure first, and found a wrapped glass inside of one of my shoes, as well as some. Oh, that doesn't look clean. It's a dirty shirt, so I'm gonna put that over there. Excuse me. Please excuse me. I unpacked from my adventure. What do I have in here? This looks, oh, I know what this is. Great. I found some of that too. Excellent, excellent. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, y'all. What do I see out there in chat so far? I'm seeing quite a few people, actually. Let me put this preview down, because I don't plan on doing that this evening. I don't have to worry about sound dropping, because I don't have a game running in the background, which is great. I'm seeing Ryan out there, Renzo out there, Drew and Jay and Cole and 80 and Eli and Bubblegum. There we go. If I missed anybody out there, feel free to pop in and say hey. And I see Brad out there too with a sub that's apparently 33 months long. I'm a big fan of multiples of 11 because of repeating numbers. So that's beautiful. Thank you for being a beautiful moderator as well as a great supporter of this beautiful ear community. By the way, y'all, remember the Malort from the other day? This bottle of Malort that I still got here and still I'm quite shocked by? That was Brad's fault. He brought it here. So you can thank him for that next time you put Malort into the infinity bottle, which is bound to happen again at some point. Who do I see out there? Ryan's got some car projects happening now, which is beautiful to see. Hopefully it's not as expensive as it has been in the past, but if that's just how things are going to be, that's how it's going to be. Ryan's saying you should probably wash the glass. Wash the glass? I mean, yeah, I should definitely wash the glasses. Definitely. Both these glasses and these glasses. I mean, they were in the shoe. I did use the shoe for the wedding. Admittedly, those are my wedding shoes, so those are probably... Well, they're not the sweatiest shoes that I got. Not the sweatiest shoes I got. I got sweatier shoes. Probably not an issue. I grabbed some spices on the way back. That's not the spice pouch. What the heck is this? What is this? These are dryer sheets. I thought these were spices. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, let's see. I see him Bubblegum out there with a beautiful dab emote, as well as being like, yee. Ryan saying it's always expensive. I got another 9,000 to go before the car is even running. Oh my gosh, but at least at some point, it will start running, which is at least very, very good to see. Cool. It's nice to be able to see, as opposed to the mobile live that I did on Monday, which apparently pinged a bunch of people in the Discord like 9 times. I'm sorry about that. Evidently, as I determined the other day, there's a setting in Twitch where you can click the button, and the button specifically makes sure that if the stream drops, there's a little like 90 to 3 minute long thing that pops up on the screen, such that the stream shouldn't drop, and the thing in the Discord that pings you based off of that relies on that feature working. But I found out the other day, but that only works if you are using a major encoder, which apparently the app that I'm using called Prism Live is not a major encoder. So to everybody who got pinged 9 different times in the Discord, I'm so sorry. If you want the full thing, go to YouTube. That's where it is. Bubblegum, what platform are you? Oh, you're on YouTube. Oh my gosh. I, for some reason, on another platform entirely. Bubblegum, thank you for joining the Bar with an X. I'm a little tired right now, so I'm not in my usual garb, but things will continue going as per usual. I see the upper diamond in chat as well. I've noticed you purchased a copy of Balatro. I didn't actually purchase it. Somebody gifted it to me, so we can thank that person. I thought I had spices in here. I did not. Let me go see if I can find those spices, because these are washing sheets. I think they're in my bag somewhere. I'll go on the table. Anybody else popping into chat? Feel free to pour yourself a beverage or whatever you enjoy drinking, which could be alcohol, it might not be. I'm gonna stick with water for now, until we get into it. I think we're probably gonna do sake this evening. We were talking about sake. I learned about sake over the weekend. I did not, in fact, bring any, California wine back with me. Actually, you know what? I have bottles of wine over here. Are any from California? That's a product of Chile, okay. This guy is California! Alright. What about the other one? I have a bottle of California wine. It's on the table. This is not wine that I actually purchased from California, but it comes from California, so it's relevant to the conversation. Oh man. I see Cole saying, but to be honest, don't know how long we'll be on. I've been fatigued all day, so you'll be safe from the gort. Thank you, sir. I don't know whether I'm doing any cocktail requests this evening or not. I am admittedly kind of tired, because we've been traveling since, I think, about 10 a.m. this morning, which doesn't really seem like a lot, but I got up at 6 a.m. Pacific time, and now it's 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So here we are. Bubblegum with the pleasure like your energy. Absolutely. Ryan saying he finally got Balacho. I did. Glad to see he finally spent the $10 I sent them months ago for it. Yeah, I mean, hey, the stuff that you give me here at the bar, I don't guarantee it's a part of any particular budget. But here we are. Brad saying, I'm great. It is audit season at work, so I'm drowning, but I like being a productive boy. Cheers off to that, to this mini Glencairn, which is yet to be unwrapped. And Ryan being like, audit season always scares me. Did I guess the amount that I owe Uncle Sam correctly, or am I going to jail? I don't think you could go in jail for not paying taxes. I think debtor's prison isn't a thing anymore, but I'm not a history guy. Am I wearing anything nice under this? Oh, I totally am. I am way too hot for this sweatshirt, chat. I am way too hot. So as opposed to a nicely comfy looking shirt, you get a black t-shirt with some company name on it. I got this from Goodwill. I don't know what it is. I think it's an electrician's company. Oh my gosh, it says Shock on it. And now I blend in with the blackboard behind me. I'm hot, dude. Temperature-wise. Oh my gosh. Oh man, Brad being like, this is me at work talking to the external audit team about how our publicly traded company is doing all the goodest things. Well, that's great. That's great. Mr. Vanity, I tried my best. Also, by the way, for the folks on YouTube, if you didn't notice, I figured out what setting it was before I left, such that if you are a member of the channel, not everybody's name shows up green, but I think everybody's colors have been randomly reassigned again. Like, Ryan is like this shade of magenta, Brad on YouTube is purple, Bubblegum is green, Diamond was on Twitch, so it doesn't really count. Who else has got colors again? I think Drew was green for a little bit. Yeah, like a light mint green almost. So you got your colors back, but they're random. I don't know if there's a way for you to pick your colors. And if there is, I don't got it. We're just gonna get things started over here because I was trying to find, I bought some spices while we were in, not spices, just spice. As a part of something that I'm trying to work on here at the Bar with X. I don't have it though. It's probably in somebody else's suitcase somewhere. We're not gonna worry about it. It's called fenugreek. It's for one of the infusions that I want to put together because one of the members of our Discord community, Umido, we might know him around as Maynap, has shared this this recipe for curry vodka, and that was the one spice that I was missing, so I got it now. Okie dokie. Cole saying, you won't go to jail. The banks will just send collectors to take your stuff and foreclose your business. Yeah, but at least it's not jail, you know? There we go. A Diamond on the YouTube side being like, haha, blue. There we go. Blue on Twitch, but like a dark purple on YouTube. I see Sonic.exe popping back in chat. What's going on, dude? I hope you enjoyed the flight, if you were there on my shoulder the entire time. So yeah, so if anybody popping in here a little bit now, not the same show as usual. I'm not gonna be playing Sonic Adventure this evening as you saw, but I took the logo off my board, but I am listening to some Sonic Lo-Fi. This is not my music at all. I'm just listening to a playlist. So if you're wondering what the playlist is, on the description of the YouTube video, there's a link to that playlist. It's literally called, what is it called? Wait, I have a button for this. I have a button. It's literally this is the playlist I'm listening to right now. Sonic Lo-Fi and Chill by Silly Pirate. I like the playlist, and so I've been listening to it a lot during my adventure. So here we go. I see Danny Newman popping in saying, what's up, dude? I'm gonna tell you all about it. I just got back from California. Oh man. Ryan said that you donated $100,000 to the basket weaving class. You don't need to know that your SO is the instructor. I don't need to know about it. Hey, I don't need to know. I don't need to know. Personal details. EXE was on the wing of the plane. Ryan talking about the IRS will send you to prison if you don't give Uncle Sam the money. It's called tax evasion. Oh, well, that's a good point. Tax evasion. I'm not a lawyer. Don't take legal advice on the stream. But yeah, so I was in California for, hold up. My notes say over here that I flew out on Friday. Friday was a travel day, and then we were there Saturday, Sunday, flew down south on Monday, Tuesday, and today is Wednesday. You caught up with me on Monday with the various different stream segments that occurred while we were going around Disneyland. I'm just going to try to take it from the top, show you where we've been, as well as add a couple of bottles that I grabbed along the way to the Bar of the Next collection, and we see where we go with it. No plan, no game. Infinity bottle? Maybe. And we'll go with there. Along the way, I'm gonna grab myself a drink for this evening. So, being that we started, technically the trip started here in Philadelphia, but we did wind up going to Napa Valley and Sonoma County in California. So I figured it'd be right to take a California bottle of wine to start things off with. I did not pick this up while I was in California. I picked this up down the street probably 2 months ago. I didn't bring any wine back with me, but oddly enough, I did bring back spirits because I'm more of a spirits guy. So personally, I'm gonna start with a small glass of this Cabernet Sauvignon from Harmony in Soul, California. Where in California? I don't know. It just says product of California, and that's about all I'm gonna say there. I didn't see this vineyard while I was out there, so and that's okay with me. Let's see. I see the Swedish chef popping in chat. Hello, everybody. Hello there. Sonic saying IRL, I was at Disney. Were you really? Which Disney? Because if you've ever been Disneyland, you just missed us. Or maybe we were there at the same time. Specifically, we were in Disneyland, not the California Adventure. That's a different one. We didn't do that one. Danny saying party hat, blue cocktail drink. Oh no, no cocktail this evening. No cocktails for me. I might make something with some of these brandies that I picked up, though, if anybody's got any ideas. Jamie, like, did someone say Disney? I did! I went to Disneyland with my dearest Disney queen, who's downstairs. We're both decompressing from the trip, and my version of decompressing is completely different from her version of decompressing. And technically, my version of decompressing is no camera, sitting in a corner, pondering life itself, and cooling off. But I have a show to run. And because I've set myself into your schedule at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, Mondays and Wednesdays for like the last 2 years or so, I might as well keep with that as best as I can. What does it smell like? Wine. I don't know. Might see my hand shaking a little bit because while we were on our adventure, oddly enough, one of the suitcases that we took with us, one of the bars just got stuck inside the suitcase. So I dragged about 50 pounds worth of stuff back to the bar with an X's door, and my fingers are like, you can probably see them shaking a little bit. I'm not a very strong individual, especially not when I'm carrying heavy bags of whatever. Oh, let's see out there. Bubblegum saying, what did you just spray into the bottle? Oh, this is wine preserver. This is quite literally some inert gas combination of carbon dioxide, some argon, and some nitrogen. If you think about it, when you have chips in your bag and you keep the bag open and the chips go stale, this will prevent oxygenation. It's kind of like preventing your chips from going bad, but instead I'm preventing my wine from potentially getting worse than it already is. And I opened that bottle a while ago. Solid question out there. Ryan talking about The Simpsons out there. Does it taste like wine? It most certainly does. And it does not quite taste like the wine that I had while we were in California, but I'll be getting to that a little bit. Oh, man. Swedish saying I'm classy, so if I order one in a restaurant, I get the second cheapest bottle. There we go, second cheapest. Greasiest popping in on YouTube saying, can I use it on chips? You probably could, but you go through this bottle pretty damn fast. Because I imagine, because like the advantage of the wine bottle is it's not as wide here, and this essentially creates a layer at the top or bottom of the bottle. I think this is lighter than the air, so probably up here to prevent the oxidation. You could use it on chips, but probably be going through a lot of money. I feel like there's cheaper ways of accomplishing that. I see Manic popping in and Archie Shadow as well. The ultimate bartender life has returned. I tried my best, actually. So, I went to California, came back from California. I've got some notes of what we did along the way, and I just want to kind of sit here and chat with you guys about it while we chat about whatever else happened over the last little bit. So, the first thing that happened while we were in California is we flew there, right? Along the way, I'd say the only notable thing from the travel from here to California, specifically Northern California, we flew into, I think it was San Jose was the airport that we flew into, and we drove about 2 hours up north to go to Sonoma County and correspondingly on the other side of the mountain, the Napa Valley. I'm like not well versed in the world of wines and whatnot, so when I took a class back in college and it was a wine course, and we covered a little bit of like wines from America, and the only main thing I remember from that class was in the US, the main wine regions are like California, the Napa Valley, and like Oregon. And I don't remember where in Oregon in particular, but they're all kind of on the west coast of the United States. So we went there to wine country because there was a wedding out there. Come to find that the party that we saw getting married, one side of the family was very intimately familiar with the Napa Valley area. So we wound up going to, I don't remember what vineyard it was. Oh, I don't remember what vineyard it was. Oh, I gotta figure out what vineyard it was, because that goes into the next part of the story where I tried, I think, 5 different wines from there. They were all distinctly different from each other, and I really enjoyed all of them. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Bubblegum saying, damn, that's great. I didn't know that existed. Yeah, it helps people, especially, they use this wine preserver stuff on like $300, $400 plus bottles of wine, which I imagine unless you drink the whole damn thing at once, you kind of want to save some of the good stuff for later, you know? I see Michael Prophet popping in, Baby popping in, as well as Bendy as well. Welcome everybody to the bar with an X. I'm not in my current outfit. I just got back from a trip from California, and I got back less than an hour ago. So no game, no cocktails, not really. And show more or less just kind of playing things by ear, playing by ear. Sonic asking, Cam, when I was on your shoulder in California, I was asleep the whole time. Dude, good for you, dude. There were some windy ass roads that we drove through. In particular, the Airbnb that we wound up staying at for a couple of days was somewhere on, I don't know what value it was. I don't know what mountain it was. But on one side of this mountain, actually I have Google Maps, dude. I'm trying to rely way too much on my memory, of which is, my brain is fatigued right now, so I'm not going to do a very good job. I'll just figure out where the heck I was. It was easy. Baby Legrand is saying, I subbed. Thank you. We appreciate that. Where the hell was I? I'm going to try to do some searching on my phone. How's that music treating y'all? If the music's too loud, by the way, let me know. It's just the right volume for me. All right, where was it? View my recent history of where the heck I was. Okie dokie. I figured out what winery I was at. I remember what winery we went to. There we go. Okay, that's... Come on, buddy. There we go. Work, darn you. Visatui Winery. Visatui is where I went to overall. And what mountain did I have to drive through to get there? Because we drove all the way over the mountain. It was beautiful. Trying to figure out the Mount Veeder. Oh, I remember. It was Mount Veeder because I think when we were driving around, I was like, Mount Veeder sounds like Mount Wiener, and that was hilarious to me at the time. So we were on one side of Mount Veeder in Sonoma County, it looks like. Sonoma. And then on the other side of Mount Veeder was the Napa Valley. So we stayed in Sonoma County, did some stuff around there, went to Napa Valley for the wedding, and then came back after the fact and did some stuff around there. Visatui Winery was the place that we went to. And I tried some Chardonnay, tried some Sauvignon Blanc, tried some Riesling, some Cabernet Sauvignon, and some Merlot as well. And I think it was just their signature bottles. I don't remember any other details about it. If you see me, by the way, tracking something flying around, it's because there's definitely a fly here at the bar of the next. We've been away for Oh, did I get you? I did not. That is okay. That is okay. Greasius up above saying, I've been all around Southern SoCal my whole life. Used to live in a wine area called Temecula, but the other half of the state, I barely know everything. But California is a big place, dude. I wouldn't expect you to know everything about the state you live in. I should know more about New Jersey because that's the state that I grew up in, and it's a relatively small state. But I've been in Pennsylvania for the last like 7 to 8 years, so I took my Jersey knowledge. I failed that course, so to speak. I see Gabe Gray popping in, 80 the Beat popping in, Michael asking how is Disneyland so far. Did y'all meet any characters that went on rides? I was at the latter part of the trip. I'll tell you all about it in a little bit. Official saying too, who's this handsome glass-wearing fellow that's taking over camera with an X? It's just me. I have my glasses on so I can see chat and not bother my eyes. Sonic the Hedgehog popping in chat. Very cool. Cow King, Pa, welcome back. No vest, it's me. And what else did I miss? Ryan saying, could you do a maple syrup and peanut butter washed whiskey, right? Or, but could we do it? Like today? No. But is it possible? Yes, of course. 80 saying that you just finished Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 and it was absolutely amazing. No spoilers! I've been trying to keep away from spoilers. And I read the Toby Fox email and he was like, to avoid spoilers, don't use social media at all. And here I am on Twitch and YouTube. The day that it does or the day after it comes out. Oh my gosh. So let's see. We flew into Sonoma. We flew into San Jose. We stayed in Sonoma County. And what did we do on day one? Day one was mostly a bit of a travel day. The only thing of note that I had to report on by the time that, but in between us actually getting to California and coming back was for the first time, I had the Shackmeister beer at Shake Shack because they had one in the Minneapolis airport, which is where we were doing our layover at. And I think I took notes on it. I recall it being kind of floral for, I want to say it was a lager type beer, but I don't recall off the top of my head. It was a, oh, come on. I also tried a beer in Disney World too, specifically at Oga's Cantina. That was very interesting. Very, very interesting. Shackmeister Ale. It was a pale ale style beer. My notes say it was a bit dry with a leafy flavor and a mild citrus, reminiscent of grapefruit and mango, appreciable hoppiness. I never tried the Shake Shack beer before, but I thought it was pretty good. Did I take it home with me? No, because apparently in an airport, they don't want you taking these open containers on the planes, which, you know, consuming your own alcohol on a flight is federally illegal and is cause for fines or potential jail time, if you didn't know that already. But they cracked open the can, they poured it into a cup, and I downed it before we got on our next flight, and correspondingly made our way into San Jose before driving 2 hours in the darkness with the renter car that we got to get to our Airbnb. This Airbnb was like beautiful, dude. I'd bring up pictures if I had more time to proof over like not putting any like doxable information out there. Again, I just got back about an hour ago, but the place was beautiful, dude. In particular, it was this like cute little like country home type area that was like right across the street from like a community pool, basically, which I thought was pretty cool. And oh my gosh, there in particular, the place that we stayed at had like this beautiful garden that seemed to be upkept by whoever the Airbnb owner was. And outside, not only were there giant agave plants, I don't know what kind of agave they were, but I looked outside in the morning and I was like, God damn, that's an agave plant. And I really wanted to take a bite of it. I didn't, because I imagined it wasn't going to taste very much like tequila. But they also had giant bushes of what we would later find to be rosemary, or particularly ornamental rosemary. There's apparently a bunch of different types of rosemary out there, and these bushes were just ginormous, dude. It was a gigantic rosemary bush, and I was so tempted to take a couple of snips off of it and make some tea, but honestly, I just forgot to, and I probably could have taken some home with me, but there were weird bugs out there in California that I'm not used to, so I didn't feel like taking anything back over here with me, lest I bring about the next blight of the lanternfly, part 2, with some other animal or insect that just happens to really, really favor rosemary in particular. Oh my gosh. What else did I miss out there? Official looking at the chat. Nobody's green anymore. Nobody is a specific putrid dark forest green anymore. I found the override for it, so I didn't need to reach out for any help. 80 being like, I will never spoil a game like that, which is great. And it took you apparently 7 hours to do so, but it was the best 7 hours that you spent in the world. So it seems that you spent the last day. It came out yesterday or it came out today. I can't remember exactly what day, but when I popped open Steam, it was like Deltarune's available. I was like, bro, here we go. Cow King out there saying that tomorrow we're going to the new Epic Universal Park. It has a Mario World Park. Also, did you see the post of your pictures in the hub? I didn't have a chance to check mostly anything out yet, mostly because aside from monitoring the general chat in the Discord server, which is at right here, in case you want it, no pressure to join in, but I was mostly looking at the general chat just in case we got some new members, because just because I wasn't at the bar doesn't mean the content stopped flowing. It's called batching your content. And it makes it so that I can actually take vacations like this. But I didn't get a chance to look at the Community Hub post from Cow King yet about their trip in Universal Studios. I think I'll probably put something together with some pictures of our journey, but I'll give the audiobook version of the journey retrospect this evening as I'm going through right now. Ryan saying, I liked being green. It wasn't easy. It's not easy being green. It's not easy being cheesy either, according to Chester the Cheetah. I see some nerds saying, hello, gamers. I see we're talking about Deltarune. A little bit. We're not talking a lot about Deltarune. We're talking about California. Keep all spoiler chat of Deltarune out of my chat room. Not because I'm going to play it anytime soon, at least not to what you would know, but because I don't want to spoil it just yet, you know? But technically, 80's saying it came out June 4th from where you are, and it's June 5th for you right now. So it came out today for me, because today is June 4th for me. That is the day that I'm coming back. I see Cow King out there with some beautiful bits. It's wonderful. Thank you, Twitch, for not providing any alerts on your own alert system. I appreciate that, Cow King. It's the new combo features that they had, and I haven't had the chance to do any sort of feedback. So long story short, Friday, we went to California. I had a beer along the way. It was pretty good. What else did we do? Minneapolis was fine. Oh, I got the chance to watch Knuckles, because apparently on, what was it, Delta flights? You get free Paramount Plus? You could watch Paramount Plus things on a Delta flight? That was so cool, dude! So I watched episodes 1 through 3 of Knuckles, the Paramount series, the same universe that the Sonic the Hedgehog Paramount movies just recently came out in. It was interesting. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you, but it's basically just the story of Wade and Knuckles, and there was a lot of bowling. Lo and behold, I came to find on my way back just today that you can get 24 hours of Paramount Plus for free if you ride a Delta flight, which I thought was awesome. So on the plane, they only give you options of the first 3 episodes of Knuckles, and there's 6 episodes total of the miniseries. So I thought that I was gonna watch the other 3 episodes on my way back, because I figured out you could just log into Paramount Plus and get all of it for free for 24 hours. Turns out flight Wi-Fi is not that good, so I was able to download 1 episode in the 3 hours that it took us on the last flight, because that's when I figured out that you could do it. So I am only halfway through Knuckles now. Instead, I decided to watch Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie, on my way back, and I got through about 70% of the Borderlands movie, just a part of some research that I'm doing as a video game cocktail mixologist, and I wasn't able to get through the whole damn Borderlands movie, because it was available on the first flight, but it wasn't available on the second one. So I watched Inside Out 2 instead, and wrote this very, 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 very comprehensive list of things I did on vacation. There's not a lot there. I was too focused on the movie. Let's see out there. Nerd out there saying that you're near the start of Chapter 4 and you enjoyed Chapter 3 in Deltarune, which is great. Deltarune today should be a national holiday. I don't even know. I don't make the rules. 80 saying technically it came out June 4th. Michael saying your summer kind of sucks right now because you wish you were at Universal Orlando, Epic, Disneyland, Disney World like you and the streamers went. I mean, I don't know any other streamers who went out there, but we had budgeted for this trip for a while. In general, just to give you an idea, Anna and I went out specifically for this wedding. Anna's never been to Disneyland before, and so we specifically made sure we made some room in our budget to get 1 day in Disneyland. That's all we had. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. We had 1 day in Disneyland. We had a day in downtown Disney when we got there, but that was all we did. And we tried to make the most of it. It wasn't California Adventure. One of these days we're gonna go back there, and it'd be pretty cool if we could do like a Bar of the Next meetup in different areas of the world like Disneyland. I think that would be kind of cool, but... I see Bubblegum saying, watched Ted the series, it's great, but only 1 season so far. Oh, that's interesting. That's like the teddy bear movie, right? I remember watching that a while ago. That had like Seth Rogen, I think? Official saying that you're gonna take a full day to play Deltarune, which sounds wonderful. It's more time than I've got. And 80 describing some details about Chapter 3. Had gimmicks. Spoilers. So let's see. Friday, we wound up finding ourselves in Sonoma County, California, and we slept at the Airbnb overnight. It had some wild rosemary. I did pinch it, and it smelled like pine. And then I took a bite of it, as you're definitely not supposed to be doing with plants that you find randomly, and I thought it tasted like pine. And when I showed it to my friend, he was like, bro, that smells like rosemary, and it looks like rosemary too. And I was like, yeah, it's probably rosemary, and I didn't take any back with us. Saturday morning, we wake up, and we're like, all right, let's go do some other things. The wedding that we went to was around this weekend, and I'm not going to say exactly when it was, but it was at this particular winery, Visatui, which was quite nice. So we started the day basically just kind of driving around a little bit. Anna does a really, really great job of determining our itineraries, like, far before we actually get on the trip. So she picked out a little market that had, I think, ox in the name or something. But we walked around there for a little bit, just kind of looked at some of the market varietals that they were selling things like olive oil, they were selling wines, they were selling local beers and whatnot. There's a motorcycle outside. What are you doing out there? How's our music going? Yeah, dude. I might keep my headphones on for a little bit. Yeah, in case you can hear the motorcycle outside, apparently somebody else is getting back home from their vacation too. But it was cool. While we were at this particular market, we tried a little bit of wine that we got from, I don't remember what vineyard it was just a small little tasting. Got the chance to talk to a small little spice company, and I managed to pick up a bag of fenugreek. And that's one of the varietals of spices that I wanted to grab in particular because there's a little curry vodka recipe in our Discord server right now, and it uses a number of different things. It's by a user Umido who pops in chat, goes by main app, and there's a cocktail that I really want to try with it, but I need to make the curry vodka first, and one of the ingredients that I was missing was fenugreek. And when I originally thought I saw the price as being $5 per pound. Instead, it was like $5 per 2 ounces. So I bought like 20 bucks worth, or about a half a pound of fenugreek. And as I was buying it, the person who sold me this stuff was like, you know what this stuff is used for, right? And I was like, I don't. I'm buying it for vodka. And they said, well, you know, fenugreek is most known for its ability to cause people to lactate. So it's used as a means to help potential not-so-lactating mothers to feed their children. And I was like, I did not know that. They were like, you didn't? What? You said you're putting this in vodka? And I was like, yeah, and that's kind of where the details are stopping. Because the conversation didn't go any farther from there. But that's the only thing I picked up from here. I think Anna picked up a thing of Mediterranean spice. I think that's what it was. That was pretty tasty. It was a very small stop at the spice shop. And then around the corner was this tasting room or a little tasting area for Napa Distillery. And that's where I got all of these bottles here, which I'll vamp about in a little bit. Not before I look at my chat a little bit more. Nerd saying that tomorrow was crunch time, apparently. Got a character sheet finished for, was it a D&D character that you were working on, I feel like I recall? Jordan saying I watched an anime about bartending. Is it Glass of God? Because that's a really good anime. We're not all the way through the newest season, the newest version that came out of it. I didn't watch the original, but having watched the most recent one, at least part of the way through, I want to go back and watch the beginning one. That's the only bartending anime that I'm aware of, at least off the top of my head. Official saying I wouldn't recommend taking a bite of any agave plant. The leaves are usually bitter, fibrous, and dusted with dust sanding. That's a good point. That's a good point. I saw a video recently by a TikToker. Cannot remember her name, but there was a video of her just biting into a cactus, and the entire time I saw cactuses in California while we were out there on the trip, I kept saying to myself, I really want to bite the cactus. I did not bite a single cactus. I did not bite the agave either. Also, when we were in Disneyland, one of the cacti that we saw had like bark growing around it. It's apparently a total normal process called corking. And when cacti get big, they're usually kind of bendy, but they make a little cork around the base such that when they get so big, they don't wind up knocking themselves over and hurting themselves from the weight of their beautiful, beautiful spiny branches. But I think it's actually kind of smart from a cactus perspective. But I didn't eat any cactus. I've always wanted to have nopales. Not this trip, unfortunately. I see Iris popping in saying we got a Digimon game coming out in October. Very exciting. And Brad saying Anna's an amazing trip planner. I've seen some of the schedules. Her itinerary is top notch, top notch. Official saying take a bite of the pit of the piña of the agave plant, which is where they make the tequila from. 80 saying can't stop being excited about chapters 5, 6, and 7 of Deltarune. Jordan saying that you were on episode 5 of Bartender Glass of God anime. And Ryan's talking about D&D. He's saying he wants to learn how to DM just so you can figure out a way to implement a Groundhog Day mechanic in a campaign. Hey, dude, best place to start. I'm not a DM, so don't take it from me. I'm no authority on this. Get some friends that you know, pick up a player's guide, or rather the DM's guide, just go for it. Practice makes perfect, you know? Nerd out there heading back out. Had a good time decompressing and talking about stuff. Absolutely, dude. Do your best life out there. And I see 80 saying, Cameron, I'm just going to say this. You look like a dad. One of these days I might be. While we were in Disneyland, I couldn't help but think to myself that the Disney experience would be very different if I had a child. So, I bought a child.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did. I bought a child. I did. It's my little bundle of joy, and she weighs 11 pounds. Hold up, I just gotta go grab her. Is this how you hold a baby, love? The shirt. Anna says short. Introducing Baby with an X. This is my
just name the blanket.
This is my little bundle of joy, chat. Look at her, she's so pretty. Oh, let me unwrap her so you can see. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, I dropped my baby on the floor. This is an 11-pound weighted blanket. It's on a mansion theme. Can you see the logo? Is that nope, not on that side. Not on that side. Is it on this side? Transporting this thing back to the bar with an X was a bitch, dude. Aha! Haunted Mansion theme. My little bundle of joy. It was very comfy on the plane. But I only realized after having this on the plane, the time that we did, the cumbersomeness that an 11-pound weighted blanket can have. Does it keep you warm? Absolutely. But you have to carry the damn thing around. It's incredible. Found the budget, you said? What's up? Do you want to share the numbers?
No.
Okay.
Actually, that's a little.
That's fair. That's fair. You seem a little out of it, which is okay. I'm out of it too. I'm out of it too. Hold on. Let me throw the baby at you.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna be great at rearing children one day, right? Man. Ryan saying all my friends are Masons and Shriners. They're not exactly the type to play D&D. You're telling me Masons and Shriners aren't nerds? That's a shame, dude. Renzo saying 17 hours straight working on your business assignment. I put too much work into it, but I loved every second of it. Dude, pour yourself a drink. You've earned it, my guy. Jordan's saying Groundhog Day mechanic is just use like a basic checkpoint mechanic. Oh, to go back to the checkpoint each time, right? There we go. Oh, man. Greasiest says my child's adorable. Anyway, 80, gonna go to bed? Dude, go for it, my guy. I know it's late up where you are. I'm on a 3-hour time difference, and I think for you it's at least 11 or 12 or something, I think? I see Clone popping in saying, what's up, Cam? What's y'all mixing today? I'm drinking wine out of a glass because I literally just got back from California, so I'm in no means to be mixing up anything crazy or otherwise today. I was basically just going through some details of this California trip that I did. We went to Sonoma County and Napa Valley. We went to Anaheim. And then we came back to Philadelphia, and that's pretty much it. And I'm just vamping about it. What I was just about to get into was I was talking about how on Saturday we went to a small little marketplace where Napa Valley Distillery. Napa Valley, the place that is usually known for its wine, also has a distillery where I picked up a couple of bottles and had an excellent conversation with a gentleman by the name of Ruben. He was the bartender on staff there. And without going into too many details, because there's just too many details to talk about, this dude was super nice to talk to, gave us all the details that I could have ever asked for. Being a mixologist myself, I had questions about the spirits and the process and stuff like that. And there was a tasting, and if you bought 3 or more bottles of spirits, the tasting, which is usually like 25 bucks, the price would be waived. So I picked up a couple of bottles. I thought it was pretty cool. Kid popping in with a couple of bits. A beautiful rainbow flag for Pride Month. Happy Pride Month, y'all. I got my little rainbow back here, so we like to see that. Actually, wait, where's my fan? I'm a little scatterbrained today, chat. 3-hour time difference. Oh, gay is good. Gay is very good. So do that. Be gay, do crime. Just don't get up in jail unless you like spending time in jail, in which case, hey, it's a free meal, you know? Anyways, solid sounding vacation. I would agree with that. Official saying, what's so different about having an 11-pound weighted blanket bundle and not having it while in Disney? Now I don't know where to put it. I got it because when we were in Disneyland, I was actually very cold for Anaheim, so we got it because we were so cold, and we were gonna sit on the ground basically for the Phantasmic performance. But we'll get to that. Instead, Napa Valley Distillery, y'all. This place was super cool, dude. So basically, we approached, and I saw on their well a number of bitters from other distributors. I don't think they specifically made their own bitters, but I saw a number of different flavored. They had a whiskey, they had a rum, like a base rum, they had a vodka as well, but I saw a number of bottles that were labeled just flavored brandy, and that got me thinking because I've been doing a lot of research into potential bottle procs for bottle acquisitions for the Bar with an X here for eau de vie, which is a category of spirits that is basically brandy, but it's not just for like typical brandies, which are typically made from things like grapes. And eau de vie encompasses the category of a brandy, but a brandy, by definition, is something distilled from fruits, like grapes for a lot of brandies out there, like cognacs, for example. Kirschwasser is made from cherries. I think eau de poire or something like that is a pear liqueur. It's actually distilled from pears. So when I saw brandy, my question was whether or not this would be something like where's my blackberry brandy down here? This blackberry brandy? Yeah. My question was whether or not their flavored brandy was something like this, where it's got added sugars and stuff to it and potential artificial colors or flavors or otherwise, or whether or not it was actually distilled from whatever was on the bottle. And I learned something pretty interesting about California liquor laws and why you might want to make a brandy instead of a vodka. Well, let me turn my attention to chat. I see Randell popping in, who was there hanging with us just for a little bit while we were in Disneyland. Got some butter pecan cream liqueur. Not sure what I want to do with it yet. If you haven't tried it, I don't remember if you're a coffee guy, Randell, but if you haven't tried it in coffee, I like cream liqueurs in coffee personally, because it's kind of like a latte, you know? Specifically espresso if you can make it. I see Jordan popping in chat saying, Cam, did you enjoy your time in Disneyland? I absolutely did. Brad out there shouting out to your ace lads in chat, which we like to see. And I see Arif on YouTube saying, I'm new to drinking. Any recommendations for whiskey? Like, right off the bats, I'm not a good place to go for recommendations on whiskey, but if you're new to whiskey and you want something that's considered good in a way, bottled and bonded bourbons are high enough in proof, and they have some required details that make them a little bit more... What's the right word I'm looking for? Bonded spirits are supposed to be like I can't remember the word that they use, but bottled bond spirits tend to be 100 proof, and they don't have extra gunk in them. But in particular, my question that I'll ask anybody who is new to spirits or otherwise, like you're new to drinking, is what do you particularly like? Because in the beginning, I don't think it really matters what you get, because if you're sipping like a whiskey straight, for example, my palate wasn't at the point where I could distinguish between a good whiskey or a whiskey that I liked versus another one. So when you've got a blank slate to work with, anything's fine. But my favorite brands of whiskey to use, Rittenhouse Rye. I like Rittenhouse Rye as a bottle of whiskey for cocktails and whatnot. And what else do I have back here? Yeah, that's pretty much all I got off the top of my head. Good questions out there. Let's see. Caledonian popping in saying, how was my trip to Disney? I'll get there. We're getting there. Ryan giving some details on bottle and bond spirits. Ryan, are you in the same chat as Arif? Oh, Arif is over in the vertical chat. Ryan's in the other chat. So Arif, one of our local whiskey aficionados, Ryan, is saying bonded spirits are required to be 100 proof, must be inspected regularly by the federal government, and only one person at the company and the inspector are allowed to have a key to the federally bonded barrel warehouse. So if you're looking for something that is good by means of the requirements of the government, bonded spirits, bottled and bond, which includes things like whiskeys and bourbons and whatnot. Solid question. Randall said you made coffee with it already. Is good, but not unique or anything, or an interesting use. For the butter pecan, I would say I'm not a big butter pecan guy anyways. So aside from putting it in coffee, I don't know what else to do it for, but there's a bunch of ways that you can use cream liqueurs, including clarifying other drinks with it, like throwing it into something like a paper plane or a whiskey sour or something like that, which I've not tried with any of my flavored cream liqueurs, but it could be an angle to explore this at. So let me take my wine and finish that off. This was a Harmony and Soul Cabernet Sauvignon from California. Did I pick it up in California? No. No, I did not. I just so happen to have it, and it is incredibly tannic today. So I'm actually just going to stick with my my water. So while I was at Napa Valley, the Napa Valley Distillery tasting room, I find out that I ask inquisitively about what's the deal with the brandies. I'm like, are you adding sugar to stuff like this? I don't see any funky colors in these brandies that you got here, so like, what's the story behind them? And Ruben, our bartender, basically proceeded to describe to us that in California, like these spirits are effectively vodka. Vodka being, at least legally in California, is a spirit made from pretty much whatever, so long as it's got sugar in it, distilled up to at least 95% alcohol out the still. Could be distilled one time, two times, multiple times, whatever it takes to get it to that 95% alcohol point when it comes out of the still before it's bottled. But apparently, at least according to California law, brandies are still considered brandies and not vodkas if, when it comes out of the still, it is below 95% alcohol. So these brandies that are made by Napa Valley Distillery here, again, I'm not sponsored by them anyways, I just really enjoyed the conversation and I brought some bottles home with me. They're all made at its base with Sauvignon Blanc grapes. So it's a grape that's been distilled. So it's a brandy, it's made from a fruit, but after 2 times in their still, apparently it never gets above 95% alcohol, so they can still legally call it a brandy and sell it and distribute it under a brandy license in California, not a distilled spirits license, if I'm articulating that correctly, which I might not be. Wine and beer, it's a brandy license specifically. Yeah, I took a look at the California liquor, whatever the equivalent of liquor control board is for California after the fact, and looked at how many different types of like beer, wine, and spirit licenses they have, and it goes up to number 98. So there's a lot of different spirits. So don't ask me the next time you want to open up a distillery in California or a brewery or anything. I don't got the chops for that. I really don't. I see Bob popping in, Ralsei popping in as well. Congrats to Deltarune. Congrats to the Darkners out there for Deltarune and whatnot. Ryan said, if anybody aside from the lead distiller and the inspector enters the barrel house, the inspector releases the barrels for bottling. The entire stock is required to be destroyed. You gotta get it out of there. Good details about bonded spirits. Rendell saying, I had an idea to try it with pancakes, not tried it yet. Ooh, that's fair, that's fair. Oh, and this is the butter pecan cream liqueur that you'd picked up the other day. I never tried my liqueurs on pancakes. That sounds like a good idea. So, the brandies here, to what I know, are all made from, not this one over here, that's a canned cocktail, or a pre-made cocktail, but these brandies here are essentially Sauvignon Blanc grapes that have been made into some sort of, mash is the wrong term for it, wort is the wrong word for it. I don't exactly know the terminology for the fermented batch of gunk that eventually goes into a still and gets distilled up to a higher proof level. The terminology is just not on the tip of my tongue right now. But it's made from Sauvignon Blanc grapes. It's left to ferment for a bit. They put it through the still twice, and out the other side comes this clear brandy that is just unaged. They don't put it in barrels or anything like that. And then after the fact, they add any number of different botanicals and fruits and whatnot. They had a peach brandy, they had a pear brandy, I brought home a blueberry brandy, a geranium brandy, and a petite grain brandy as well. The peach one I didn't ask too many details of, but it tasted like peaches. The pear one was kind of bubblegummy like on the nose, and I didn't take that one home with me either. The blueberry brandy, Ruben was telling us a story because he was rather new to the distillery at the time when I guess they were either first bottling this or maybe they were just doing a particular batch of this. Off the nose, apparently, this has a very, very strong note of blueberry to it, almost as if it was some sort of artificial flavor. When I smelled it, it reminded me of the smell that you get out of like those Quaker Oats, like blueberry packets of oatmeal and whatnot. And he thought, because he was inquisitive enough to ask, and because it smelled so intensely like blueberry, that there must be something artificial in it. Are they lying about putting artificial flavors, or rather saying that they weren't putting artificial flavors in their brandy? And reportedly, our bartender had to go in to work on an off day just to watch them take the blueberries and do what they do to the blueberries and put them into the brandy. Apparently, it does actually come out the other side, tasting the way that it does and smelling the way that it does. So, I got these tiny little Glencairns that I purchased from them too, which we had our tasting in. Now I'm gonna crack open these bottles and probably add them to the website. They're not on the website yet, mostly because I didn't have a chance to add them. I've been traveling, if it wasn't already obvious. That's why I'm not on my bow tie. What else do I see out there? Ryan giving some additional details on the bottled and bond. If the whiskey is above 100 proof, the distillery is fined and could lose their ability to make bonded whiskey depending on how far off it is. Yeah, dude, strict laws for bonded spirits. I wish I could remember what term it was that I've seen. It's not bastardized. It's not for a non-bastardized spirit. I cannot remember what the word is. It's not regulation. It's just something that, it's a word that I found funny when I saw it, when it was like it's like bonded spirits for a non-adulterated, that's it. For a non-adulterated spirit, bottled and bond, they are unadulterated or non-adulterated spirits. And for some reason that term just makes me chuckle a little bit. Just a bit. Oh man. Brad saying things are good out there, passively watching some hockey while doing your moddom out there, which is great to see. Oh, who did we see? I found out the other day, Brad, that you're in a crowd of people that I thought was a lot smaller in population than I actually realized. Because Brad shared with us, he's a bit of a hockey fanatic, specifically for the Canes out there, that he wants to go to all the stadiums that the Canes play at, as like a check, like a bucket list. You gotta go to all the stadiums. I'm also having a hard time getting this thing open over here, so I'm just gonna use the force of a knife to hopefully make this easier for me. But we met someone the other day who has the same way, but with baseball. And they want to go with, I don't remember what team it was. Is the Giants a baseball team? Those are the Giants. Alexa, what do the Giants play? That's football.
Today, in a National League
matchup. Alexa, stop. Maybe it was the Giants. I can't remember. But it was everything. I thought it was baseball. Get out of here. It is baseball. I don't think the baseballs are the Giants. California Giants, Anna says. I'm not a sports guy, so I might very well be wrong. Brad says, New York Giants are NFL. National football. It's football. That's what I thought it was. Oh, gosh. Brad said New York Giants are National Football League. The San Francisco Giants are MLB. There are two Giants. No way. I'm not a sports guy. Somebody told me to drink water. That's a good idea. Randall being like, cream liqueurs are super thick and very sweet, so thought of using it like a syrup cane of mine. That is a solid idea, dude. That's a solid idea. Okay, I'm really trying to get... Basically, we got these tiny little Glencairn glasses. I'm gonna try them with these spirits that we've got. Oh, for anybody popping in here a little bit later, just got back from California. We did, in fact, go to Disneyland, but it really wasn't a very significant part of the... I mean, it was a significant part of the journey. This is a significant part of the journey, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. We just got back from Disney, basically. But we had to go to a wine country before to actually, oh my gosh, to actually get there. Get off my finger, dude. Get off my finger. Brad's saying, there are two giantses. We use watching sports as an excuse to travel. And it's a damn good excuse to travel, my guy. I could see why. It gets you to places that you've never been before to experience cool things. I feel like I should do more traveling, all things considered, but I just don't because I'm anxious about travel. And I want to stay here at my bar. But apparently, so long as I'm not pinging people a dozen times for a live show, it can be done remotely. So this is a blueberry flavored brandy from Napa Valley Distillery. This is one of the bottles that I took home for me. This is made with real blueberries. Not sponsored, by the way. And you'd be surprised if you gave this a smell and tried it. Just give it a fresh bottle crack. Small samples. There we go. Amy Chow, welcome back to the Bar with an X. I see you out there. I see Riot's over on the Twitch side who just walked into my bar. Welcome in, Riot. Welcome to the Bar with an X. A cocktail bar making drinks inspired by our favorite video game characters, concepts, and more. I just got back from California, and I'm smelling a bottle of blueberry brandy. Off the nose, like, there's something else in there that is very, very fruity. It smells like a pie of sorts, but it's a blueberry pie. And it really smells like, in my humble opinion, what blueberry oatmeal smells like. And I really should have washed these glasses because there is little pieces of stuff floating in them, but I'll wash them after the fact. Ryder's popped in a chat. Levy's popped in a chat. Welcome back, the two of you guys. Welcome back. Is that off the nose? It's like a pastry blueberry, dude. When you sip this thing, honestly, I don't get a lot of very recognizable notes on the front. It just kind of tastes like a mildly flavored vodka. But as you talk, especially as the flavor lingers in your mouth, it has this undeniable finish of blueberry. Like, I'm gonna take a couple of sips of water. I'm gonna go in for a second sip because this is the first sip of hard alcohol I've had today, so my palate just needs to kind of adjust to the occasion. It's actually a little, like, on the beginning palate, it's a little weird, all things considered. And there might be some other gunk floating in this glass. Again, I just unwrapped these. I haven't washed them yet. My bad. It's a little weird in the beginning, but it's got this light fruit note that doesn't taste super sweet. It's floral in a way. And then it ends so blueberry, dude. So blueberry. What intrigued me about this blueberry brandy is that our bartender mixed it with this lemon drop cocktail, this oak blended lemon drop cocktail, which we took home with us, and it clocks in at about 32% alcohol by volume. Anna really liked this, and I want to say, what was this made with? It might have been made with their Meyer Limoncello, because this place also, we didn't bring a bottle of Meyer Limoncello home with us, but that one was really unique in flavor. It was unlike any limoncello that I ever had before. A lot less on the flavors of lemon, and more so like what I imagine lemon curd might be, I think, potentially. Let's see. Ryan talking about sports teams. Brad talking about sports teams. Coming to Philly to watch a Flyers game at some point, perhaps. Official saying I'm a speeder. I'm a document I gotta send next week. Official, thanks for popping in. Adrian on the YouTube side saying this should be banned, which is, I'm curious as to why, actually, because we're just drinking spirits here. Brad saying, see you next stream, and Brad saying, too, 340 ad break warning. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're not doing anything illegal on this channel. It'd be different if I was smoking a fat doobie. But I don't really do weed, for the most part, so. Welcome in, Adrian, nonetheless. Welcome in. Yeah, it's very blueberry, but it's not super blueberry. Like, it's blueberry aromatically, but not super blueberry flavor. This, I was super curious to bring back home and compare with this bottle of... Where's my blueberry vodka? I don't have it behind the bar, easily accessible, but I've got a bottle of blueberry vodka here at the Bar of the Next. I think it's Faber brand, that I was curious to do a comparison on, because this is made from, at its base, a grape, Sauvignon Blanc, versus the blueberry vodka, which I want to say is just made from cereal grains at its base. It's a flavored vodka as opposed to a flavored brandy, but as I was saying before, the difference between the brandy and a vodka, at least in this case, it's not super far different because things get the actual like alcoholic like the alcoholic part of the process that gets fermented in the beginning gets distilled up to a high enough level that's pretty close to vodka. And I don't have enough details on Faber vodka and what level of proof that's distilled up to, because I just don't know off the top of my head what the Pennsylvania laws are for what is considered vodka. But we got an ad break coming up in a little bit, so I might as well just do some research on it while we're here. It was just a general chatting warning. Just a very, very general chat thing that we got here. Ryan saying, are we doing drugs in here? Nah, just drinking alcohol. Just drinking alcohol. And me mostly drinking water, because I'm so parched, dude. Super parched. I'm in my comfy cozying. I'm just wearing a t-shirt, and I'm wearing very, very comfy pants. I do, in fact, wear pants on this stream, much to the chagrin of some of the viewers. Wub Wub saying, I'd be a pretty good weed tuber if I was into that kind of thing. Nah, not really. Imagine listing off the flavor notes of a particular toke from a weed stick. I don't know the terminology either. Wub Wub, I feel like you indulge in the herb, right? I know we got a couple of viewers out there who indulge in the herb. No need to call yourself out for it. I'm not trying to point any figures or anything out there, but you're looking at anything in particular deep enough for information on flavor notes, comparisons, and subtle differences in the way things are made or otherwise, you'll find details. You'll always find details. Welcome in, by the way, Wub Wub. We got an ad break apparently starting in like 15 minutes, so I'm just gonna chill and do some research on, because I didn't know that at the time, what is considered a vodka by Pennsylvania standards as opposed to California standards, which I learned a little bit about from my friend Ruben over at Napa Valley Distillery. So Pennsylvania vodka requirements. Health benefits? No, it's alcohol, dude. Vodka requirements via the PLCB, the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. I see Fitz on the Twitch side saying hello. Just a warning, Fitz, you're probably going to be hit with an ad in a hot second. I'm just giving you a warning. You won't miss anything. Welcome in, by the way. Ryan saying, we never see you below the waist. I wouldn't have been surprised if you were just pantsless in general. Yeah, man. And if I was pantsless, you would have just gotten a very interesting look at my junk. But I'm not. But I'm not. Legally speaking. And I am wearing pants. I have to warn you. I'm not trying to... I am supposed to tell you by the TOS of at least Twitch that I am wearing pants and not lead you on to believe that just because my waist is covered from view that I'm not wearing anything. Because that's deceptive. So let's see. Very quick Search Labs view for Pennsylvania says vodka production is controlled by PLCB, Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. Additionally, we're to speak and sort of that. I want to know, what proof do you distill spirits up to for it to be considered vodka in Pennsylvania? I imagine 95%. That seems about right. Welcome to the ad break, y'all. Eli saying, how do we know the pants aren't assless chaps? You don't. You're just going to have to believe me. Or I can turn around. Welcome back, Eli. Distillation proof. Production of spirits for personal use. No. In Pennsylvania, vodka as a distilled spirit is subject to both federal and state regulations. Federally? Oh, federally! Vodka must be distilled to at least 190 proof and then diluted to a minimum of 80 proof for distribution as per 27 CFR Part 5. Really? Additionally, Pennsylvania law prohibits the production of spirits at home. Yeah, we knew that. Okie dokie. So that's a federal requirement. No way. Federal vodka requirements USA. That just might be a whole thing. Yeah, there we go. It's got to have a minimum of 40% alcohol, but what about the... Yeah, it must be distilled from any material at or above 95% alcohol by volume. So, like I was saying before, because this brandy isn't distilled, the grapes, the mash, the fermented, whatever you call it, doesn't get up to 95 proof after it comes out of the still. So therefore, it is not vodka. But because it's made from fruit, it is brandy. Which I think is kind of cool. I'll repeat this information once the ad break is done. MHS saying plot twist. He's got chaps and spurs. Nah, I'm just wearing... Nah, man. I'm just wearing slippers. I usually wear slippers on stream. I should get some arch support shoes because I literally stand here and stream for hours at a time. Hours at a time. Eli saying Tomodachi Collection Me Cameron is now wearing assless chaps because they're the pants that came with the red shirt, black vest top. Did it really? That's incredible! Wait, I remember you saying It was the vest, right? There was like it wasn't a plaid vest, but it was some other, it was the red shirt, black vest. That just came with assless chaps? Anna, how do you feel about cutting out the buttocks of one of my pairs of pants? I can do it myself, apparently. It will have to be a community project of ours. But she will not make assless chaps for me. Darn. Ryan's saying you should get snakeskin boots with spurs. If I can find them at the thrift store for like $10 or less, sign me up, dude.
No, you won't.
But Anna says I won't. So I will not, unfortunately. Eli saying you can't assign individual items, only preset outfits. I found a red shirt, black vest that comes with assless chaps. So therefore, the CameroxnWithAnX character in Tomodachi Life must be wearing assless chaps. Which, honestly, you know what? Maybe I just need to catch up with the times. If that's how a Nintendo game of vast popularity is going to portray me as a character, then naturally I have to take notes from what's already established out there and loved by video gamers everywhere. So assless chaps, apparently. Welcome back from the ads, everybody. What I was doing was double checking what the requirements are for vodka here in the United States. When I went to Napa Valley Distillery, I was reminded by Ruben, our bartender, that to be a vodka, you need to be distilled to 95% proof, 95% alcohol by volume, or 190 proof or greater before bottling, and then bottle at something far below. I think it's bottled at a minimum of 80 proof or about 40% alcohol by volume. This brandy, made from Sauvignon Blanc grapes, a fruit, was distilled up to, but not exceeding, 94.99% alcohol, meaning it is not federally a vodka. It is a brandy, which is why it says brandy on the bottle. I gave a test of this blueberry one here, which it ends very blueberry, but to me it doesn't taste super blueberry forward. But then again, it's non-sweetened, and blueberries tend to have a sweet flavor to them, so I'm curious to try this at some point as compared to the blueberry vodka that I have, which should taste more like blueberries than this one does, because I assume that there's a couple more notes from that Sauvignon Blanc grape, which is traditionally a wine grape, that's left over in the bottle here. I also learned too, and I didn't fact check this one either, but Ruben was telling me that apparently in the United States, you can add up to 2% of stuff and additives to vodka up to 2% before you have to start reporting additives to your vodka. So he was saying, and I haven't fact checked this whatsoever, that technically if you have a vodka and you add 1.5% pineapple distillate to it, or pineapple flavoring, or green apple flavoring to it, you don't have to say it's flavored. You can just say it's vodka. I didn't check that. I didn't double check that, but a part of me was like, ooh, that's sneaky, because some people will say that all vodkas taste the same, but I would swear, and my Dearest would swear too, because vodka is her spirit of choice, that different vodkas taste vastly different. And it seems to me that might just go beyond what is used to make the vodka, whether it be potatoes, or grains, or Sauvignon Blanc grapes, for example, which I think is kind of interesting. But this ends very blueberry, and it's cool because when you mix it to things like pre-made cocktails like this lemon drop the other day, which I'm not going to wind up tasting tonight, just a little bit sweet for me, and I'm going to keep my mind on the spirits, it adds a blueberry aftertaste without significantly modifying the beginning flavor of the cocktail. So this was a cool bottle that I wanted to take home with me because it specifically modifies a particular part of the evolution process of whatever drink that you put it in, where the blueberry flavor exists almost mutually exclusive from all the other flavors. Anna just delivered to me a bunch of coasters that we grabbed on our adventure, most prominently from Disney World. Disneyland, excuse me, Disneyland. I correct myself there. Okie dokie. What else see out there? I see Austin popping in on YouTube. Hello, welcome back. Brad saying canonically we don't know if Cam wears pants. I'm wearing pants right now. I'm literally wearing pants right now. Right now. Official saying just like Tic Tacs are sugar-free without 0.5% sugar. And on that note too, if you see a bottle that says non-alcoholic, it can have up to 0.5% of alcohol in it, which is about the same alcohol level of a fermented banana. Lightly fermented banana. Ryan saying you just found a pair of snake boots on eBay for about 30 bucks. Dude, it's gotta be 10 or lower. I'm a cheapskate. Official saying I'm supposed to be speedrunning, but I have you in the background to support the stream. I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate that very much. Brad saying hi to Anna in the background, and Brad saying too, I thought that was a stack of cookies. No, man. These are the, we got coasters from Disneyland. I'll talk about it more in a little bit, but two of the places we went to was Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Room and Oga's Cantina. So I've got more coasters for the collection. I did a small live, and somebody did ask me on that live, what do I collect? And I was like, admittedly, I don't collect shot glasses. I collect coasters. And those are the coasters we took back with us because oftentimes you can get them for free at the bars that you go to. I think it's kind of cool. All right, did I just use this Glencairn? Apparently these Glencairns are a little bit more dirty than I thought they were, but they're cute and they're small. Is my cocktail angle working? No, it is not. Hold up. I did just get back to the bar with an X, so not everything is up and running yet. But I think this thing is charged now. It should pop up in a hot second. There we go. Small little roller coaster, yeah, Red. Small little roller coaster ride. Hi, y'all. Oh, it's upside down. Hold on, let me fix that. Let me fix that. There we go. There we go. Now we're right side up. Check out these little dudes! These are the smallest Glencairn glasses that I have. And they say on them, Napa Valley Distillery. That's cute. Now, if these Glencairns function anything like the Glencairn glasses that I typically use on the stream, if you put them through the dishwasher, eventually the decal will come off. Like the ones that I keep not over here, because apparently they're dirty. I got more Glencairns down here because I've got more spirits I want to try. So I will. So I will. Here's a Glencairn, there's a Glencairn. Take the dirty Glencairns, put them away. Put them away. There we go. Oh, there's the fenugreek. Thank you, dearest. I told you all I was stopped at a spice shop, and this is half a pound of fenugreek seeds. Apparently, if you use this in some way, I don't know officially how to use it, you can make yourself lactate with them if you have mammary glands, which I don't believe I have, but I'm not a doctor. Dearest, do I have mammary glands? I don't have mammary glands, for all intents and purposes. Fenugreek seeds, lactation or something. Ryan saying the boots are $29.99 or best offer. You could potentially have them for $10. Spice shop. It was a spice shop. It was a spice and tea exchange shop. Spice shop. This guy. I'm not buying snake boots. Not on stream. I have learned since the last time we did an Instacart. What was it? Instacart or Grubhub? I don't know what we did on the stream when we got the milk duds. I'm not gonna buy things on stream anymore. Because y'all take advantage of that. When you came back the next week and you were just like, "Can we get more milk duds?" I was like, no. Delivery costs. We'll wait till we get to the level of, like, big internet drinky mixology man one day. But we don't have the cash for that. We gotta work on a budget. Was it Instacart? Was it Instacart? Was it Instacart? I think it was the other one. No, it was GoPuff. That's what it was. It was GoPuff. I see Bumblebee Bee popping in chat. Buzz, dude. Welcome back. Welcome in, actually, Bumble. I think we're not yet cordial with each other. Welcome to the bar of the next, Bumble. There you are. Oh, wait, who did we have the other day? I thought I just saw somebody new pop in our Discord server who had a name that was similar to a bumblebee. I don't know if you're the same person. If you are, welcome to the live stream. It was you. Oh, great. Excellent, excellent. I just got back from California. I saw you pop in the Discord server the other day, and I was like, could it be a weird coincidence for somebody else who has bees in their name to pop in a chat? Well, welcome in, Bumble, fellow content creator, and also if I saw a drink tender of sorts. So potentially a cocktail mixology person out there. We like kindred company. Ryan being like, so Doka Ryan? Dude, Doka Ryan. Canada indeed. So the second bottle I'm going to show you all is this bottle of geranium flavored brandy. I already told you all the nuance behind the fact that this is a brandy. It's made from Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc grapes, not Cabernet grapes. They're all made from Sauvignon Blanc grapes. They're essentially mushed up into a juice, allowed to ferment with some sort of yeast, and then you put that into a still, and out the other side comes something that is not above 95% alcohol. It is somewhere below 95% alcohol, so you can call it a brandy, and it not be considered a vodka. In the case of the blueberry, they put blueberries in there. In the case of the geranium spirit, they, I believe, put geranium in there. And I think, does it actually have, it does not have the details on the back of the bottle specifically about how they make this one in particular, but geranium is a flower, and this geranium brandy tastes and smells like a flower. That thing is awesome. Oh my gosh. Super user, welcome back to the bar. I see Bumblebee saying, you didn't have to do the shout out command. Oh, dude, we love to support our fellow content creators. Think nothing of it. Think nothing of it. I'd pour you a drink if I can, but that's not how this camera works. Where is the opening of this thing? Can't find the opening of this. Would you open up? We're just gonna do this the easy way. There we go. That's easy enough for me. Ryan saying, is germanium radioactive? Germanium? No. Geranium. Geranium. Think of it kind of like the word drain, like on a sink. It's slightly different. Oh, there's the thing I was supposed to do. There we go. So this is geranium, the flower, brandy. I remember picking this one up because I was so intrigued by the flavor of flower that was coming from this brandy. Like I was telling you all a little bit previously too, I've been doing some research on a category of spirits called eau de vies. It's essentially the same family that brandies exist in, but whereas brandies are specifically made from fruits, eau de vie as a category does not have to be made from anything in particular. It could be a fruit, it could be a grain, it could be a leaf, I think. It could be an herb of some sorts. Things out there exist such as cherry brandies, which are considered brandies, but a basil brandy wouldn't really make sense because basil is not a fruit to my knowledge, but basil eau de vie exists, which I think is pretty cool. And although this isn't considered an eau de vie, because at its base it is made with grapes, it still has that same quality to it that I liken to things that are like an herbal eau de vie, which I've never actually had before. So, fresh bottle crack of this geranium-flavored brandy from Napa Valley Distilleries. Napa Valley Distillery? Napa Valley Distillery. Nice. Very nice. Let's see out there. Bumble saying, I got a really good mix you have to try sometime. What's my thought on malt mixes? Like a mix of specific like grains and stuff like that? I haven't had a lot of experience with particular malts. Are we talking beer, Bumble? Because if so, I've always wanted to make my own beer, but I haven't quite gotten around to it yet. I see Levy on YouTube asking what's my favorite season? Springtime, dude. I love the springtime. I like things warm, personally. A little bit of this geranium flavored brandy. Dude. Off the nose. Like, I don't know how else to split it, aside that it smells like something that you're supposed to clean things with. Like, I've smelled a candle that smells like this, a perfume that probably smells like this. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a perfume, whether or not it was a cleaning product, whether or not it was one of those, like, things that you plug into the wall and it's supposed to make things smell fresh. It might have even been something that you put into the washing machine to make your clothes smell like linen or flowers or more linen. But it smells like that. I don't know what a geranium actually tastes like. I've never bitten into a geranium before. But it's floral. Like, if anything in the Bar with an X's collection is floral and non-sweet, not talking things like creme de violets, like this bottle here, which is admittedly floral, but it's floral and sweet. Isn't that sweet? Whew. It's like a flower, like if you imagine the smell of a flower, I don't know what flower, again, probably geranium. It's in my mouth. It is flower forward. It's got a dryness to it akin to biting into a flower petal. To me, this flavor of geranium reminds me of rose petals, but if you replaced the rose-specific smell with a different flower. Obviously geranium, right? But I've never actually had geranium before. I've never eaten a geranium. I've never bitten into a petal of geranium before. I've never done a geranium syrup or anything like that. So this one was really unique in that it is another flower flavor that I don't yet have in my repertoire here at the Bar with an X. So for the purpose of cocktail mixology and very unique drinks, this is either a really, really potent base spirit for the base of some drink inspired by maybe a flower character or a Pokemon of something like that, or it can offer a very intriguing accent to whatever the drink may be at the other side. I think that's pretty cool. Bumblebee out there saying that your dad brews some beers, but I was talking about the Arizona Iced Tea malt pack that you tried for the first time the other day, and I'm not gonna lie, it was your favorite. There's a malt pack of Arizona Iced Tea. That's so intriguing. But you say your dad brews beer, but you're not talking about that kind of malt. So what are my mixes on malt? So overall, what are my thoughts on malt mixes? If it pertains to beers, never done something like that before. If it pertains to like a ready-to-drink cocktail, I've never tried it before. Malt to me is interesting because like if you've ever gone to like a candy store and you can get things malted, I haven't quite cracked down on what a flavor of malt tastes like. Malt being the process by which a seed starts to grow and start to germinate, it converts some of the starches in the seed into sugar, thereby making it malt. And that's something that they do with bodies and stuff for spirits. But malt? Arizona iced tea. Iced tea indeed. Let's see, what did I see out there from Levy saying, did you get a chance to look at Harvestella? I did not. If you were to make a Meganium cocktail, how would you have that? Would it have this geranium spirit? Maybe, because I don't remember what flowers, geranium or Meganium. Oh, wait a minute, Meganium. Yo. Meganium geranium. Dude. Stealing that one. What was that? Was that Levy? Oh, dude, I'm taking that idea. I love that. Pokemon Meganium Geranium Spirit. I didn't even think about that. Didn't even cross my mind. Oh, that's such a good idea, Levy. Please, never change. That was awesome. Let's see. Yeah, I was on the road for a little bit, so I haven't checked most of my messages. We have a suggestions channel in the Discord that I do wind up going through. I haven't gone through any of them yet. I'll get through it by next week. Bumble's saying, I really like the vodka mix Arizona iced tea pack, in your opinion. The vodka mix. I'm still stuck on this malt one. Arizona hard iced tea. I wrote into my Google search, malt arugzana usedtra. Malt Arizona iced tea. Malt Arizona iced tea. What is the malt flavor? Oh, is Arizona hard tea malt liquor? Oh, it's considered malt liquor. It's not malted in a way. It is it's a category of ready to drink drinks called malt liquor. As in not like a pre-made cocktail. It's something like a Mad Dog 2020, for example. That's what you meant out there. That's okay. I'm still learning some of these terms too. So I appreciate you telling me that the Arizona hard iced tea and helping me get back to the point that to remind me that it is a malted liquor. Malt liquor. Continue to learn new things every day. Brad saying, I'm still waiting for Cyndaquil thingies. Oh, dude, you know it. One of these days we'll do the Pokemon. Levy saying too, Hisuian Typhlosion would be a ghost pepper because it's a ghost type and not hot like a ghost pepper. There we go, dude. Dude. Suggestions channel. I want to make sure I don't forget any of these awesome ideas that you got out there. So, for anybody popping in a little bit later, hi, I'm Cameron with an X. I'm not in my outfit right now. It's over there on my desk. Not wearing my bow tie. Just got back from California. Kind of exhausted, but not exhausted enough to be sharing about my travels. I'm currently going through a couple of spirits that I picked up from Napa Valley Distillery. Oddly enough, we went to Napa Valley, one of the wine capitals of the United States, and I didn't bring any wine home with me. Instead, I brought spirits instead, which I thought were really, really unique because they're made from Sauvignon Blanc grapes, a grape that is typically made into wine, but you take the juice or the skin, I don't remember which one, it might be a combination of all of it together to make this brandy, and I thought that was even more representative of wine country, at least in the world of distilled spirits, which I tend to work in. I tried the blueberry already. I tried the geranium one already. The geranium one, I'd say, is like a rose petal, but less on rose. It's not super sweet. It's super aromatic. And it hits you. It's got a vodka bite to it. Vodka-like bite. They're all 80 proof. So they're alcoholic, and you can taste the alcohol. In particular, things that call for flowery flavors. This would be interesting to play around with, only because typically the only things that I have access to that are flower flavored are either creme de violet, which is made from violets, or flavored with violets, and rose liqueur, which is flavored from roses. But there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different flowers out there, not to mention flowering herbs like things like basil or mints and whatnot. And I just want to have a collection of spirits that allows me to get closer to that authentic flavor representation of something that you pulled out of the ground. And oftentimes when you pull things out of the ground, they're not super sugary. Not even sugarcane is super sugary when you pull it out of the ground. You have to do processing on it first. The last spirit that I want to show you all before I kind of move things right along and talk about the latter half of my trip. I know I've been vamping for about an hour and a half so far. I'm not going to go too long tonight. I'm not going to go super late. I just want to give a rundown of what I've got so far while it's fresh on my brain. And then I'm going to call it quits. I think we'll do the infinity bottle tonight. I do have the timer up for the infinity bottle. So if you want to do that this evening, stick around for it and it should be okay. This last bottle of flavored brandy is this thing called Petite Grain. And if you didn't know this, because I certainly didn't know this when I bought the bottle, Petite Grain is the name for the flavor oil that you extract from like the leaves of the bitter orange plant. If I've got my wires not crossed, the same bitter orange flavor that you might know from this bottle of Campari or Aperol is the same orange that you get these flavor oils from for things that are advertised as petite grain spirits or petite grain oil. It is leafy, dude. It smells and tastes like a leaf. And what was cool about this one in particular is our bartender Ruben at the Napa Valley Distillery tasting area, which by the way, they were selling bottles for 50% off before they move locations by the end of this month. So if you're here and you're in that area, bottles half price. That's why I got all 4 of these bottles for like 80 bucks. But I tried this and I was like, this tastes like a leaf. And he's like, yes. It is made from, I think he said, the leaves and the sticks and the other part of the orange plant that wasn't the orange of a navel orange tree. So they make oranges, they grow oranges down in California, and they use it for a variety of different things, right? Orange cellos or fruit juice and all the other stuff and whatnot. So what they can do with the scraps is they can take the leaves and the branches and macerate them, or not macerate them, but like crush them up and stuff and make them into distilled spirits, like what I've got right here. Also, evidently the infinity bottle happens in the next 5 to 10 minutes, so you've been warned. And we are doing it this evening. Let's see, I saw Bumble saying, so like a lavender mixed with a less rosy taste. I wouldn't even say it's super lavendery either. Would I say it's lavendery? Oh, that's a good point.
Which one?
The geranium. It's like a different, like, it's a different kind of flower, dude. I don't know how else to describe, like, it's tough for me to piece out exactly what other flower this tastes like, but as opposed to, like, things being labeled as lavender, this is like a nondescript flowery smell, kind of like, oh, what's the term I'm looking for? Like cleaning products that say, or they smell floral, but they don't say exactly what kind of floral they are. It's definitely not lavender, definitely not rose, and definitely not other flowers that I'm familiar with, like violet, for example. Tails, welcome back. I see you out there. I see you out there. Brad commenting on the fact that the infinity bottle is very malorty right now. Yeah, y'all. If you want my opinion of what to go into the bottle next, something base spirity, dude. Tequila would be awesome. Or any of these brandies here, because these brandies here are all infinity eligible. They're just not up on the website yet. Not just yet. Not just yet. I see Tails saying, did you see my picture? If you put it in the community Discord, I haven't checked any of my notifications yet. If it's in my DMs, I don't always check my DMs. But if you want to show me something, community Discord is the place to put it. I just haven't checked it yet. Good night, my love. You want anything or anything? Ah, you're good. Go to bed, my love. You got stuff to do in the morning. Good night, my queen. Thank you for the Disney trip. It was a lovely time. I see Harold up popping in on the YouTube side saying lilac. Definitely doesn't taste like a lilac. I tried lilac for the first time. I think it was about a month ago. With this lilac syrup for something I was working on for a birthday party that we went to. Bumble saying, why not add your new flowery like brandy? Hey, it's up to the live chat actually. So I don't get to pick what goes into the bottle. We could add the flowery brandy. That is an option. That is an option. Darkfire Kitty on Twitch too. Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is the last thing I want to try. It is this petite grain, basically orange leaf brandy. And this bottle was going for 40 bucks, but I got it for 20. Because the place we went to was selling spirits half price. And if you bought 3 bottles or more, the tasting was free. So I got to taste 7 of their options, and I brought 4 of them home with me. It was fun stuff. Fun stuff. So let's try this one last. I know we have the infinity bottle procking in somewhere between the next 3 to 5 minutes. So get your decisions ready. I'm just reminding you all that the Napa Valley Petite Grain, Napa Valley Geranium, and Napa Valley Blueberry are not on the stock yet. I just got them, but they are eligible for the infinity bottle because they are filtered, at least 15% alcohol, and are not cream-based liqueurs. And as a reminder, I don't make the decision on what goes in here next. You do. Using the corresponding redemptions. Fresh bottle crack of this Napa Valley Distillery, Petite Grain, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, flavored brandy. All of these have such magnificent bottle pops, dude. All of them. Take a little bit of that out of there. I pretty much picked up all of these bottles because they were all unique in a particular way, or they would add a new angle to the repertoire of spirits that I have here that aren't currently occupied by some other spirit that I've got. So off the nose, let's see how we're doing. It smells like a leaf, dude. It smells like a leaf. It's got that smell of not even specifically an orange grove. I don't smell the orange. I just smell like branches, leaves, and a mild note of like detritus from the forest floor. And it's beautiful smelling. This has such like a early autumn smell to it. Oh, it's so unique, man. It's so unique. Oh my gosh. Oh man. That's got a mild bitterness to it. But it tastes like you bit into a leaf that had like a little bit of soap on it. Oddly enough. Like I was saying, this Petite Grain is made from the branches and leaves, at least of this one, of the navel orange tree in California. So it is leafy, it is foresty, not super sweet, not super orangey. It's just very, very foresty in a way that I've never had in a spirit before. Soapy leaf, I would agree with that, Brad. I see Abby popping in on the YouTube side, being like, Cameron, what's up, Abby? Welcome back. I love how there are a lot of letters and only one X. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. Bumble saying, I see in your stock you only have Deep Eddy Ruby Red. I highly recommend the cranberry or lime version. I see that. I see it. They got really nice things. That bottle of grapefruit Deep Eddy, actually, I had a bottle a while ago, and then I think I left it at a friend's house because I didn't really like it. And then my aunts gifted me this bigger bottle of it because they're not much drinkers. So they were like, we have this 1.5 liter bottle of Deep Eddy Ruby Red. We don't know what to do with it. Do you know what to do with it? And I was like, yep. So I brought it home with me. But it's a solid bottle. It's a solid bottle. Deep Eddy's got beautiful... I love the flavors of Deep Eddies. I haven't had a lot of them. I think the only other one I've had, I think, was their lemonade. I don't think I've had any other Deep Eddies before, but I appreciate the recommendation. So yeah, dude, this Petite Grain, I don't know how else to describe it. It is leafy. Leafy, like biting into a leaf. Like biting into a leaf. It's mildly bitter. Oh, who did it? Who did it? Pick the second best brandy thing that is new. Brad coming in clutch with a bartender's choice. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Let me get through this last one here, and then we'll do an infinity bottle. And then the other part of my trip that I really haven't told you all about was we went on a couple of hikes. I have pictures. I'll share them in a community thread on the Discord. And we went to a sake museum, and we went to Disneyland, California. And I had a small update while I'm there. Right? Unless I missed anything. Did I miss anything else in here? Hiking, winery, I watched stuff on the plane, went to the market, talked about the market, sake museum, we went for sushi, downtown Disney, Oga's Cantina in Disneyland. It was good stuff. It was good stuff. And then I watched Borderlands on the plane ride back home. So, Brad redeemed the infinity bottle, saying not the best one, but the second best. The second best! It's gonna be a fun edit. I'm not wearing my outfit. Do I have to put my outfit on for this? Nah, I'm not gonna do it. Instead, the people who watch on Instagram, TikTok, and just the YouTube shorts are gonna be like, where's his outfit? What happened? Man. I see Abby saying, you're the only YouTuber who I give my money to, so we gotta announce your name. With ganache and intensity. Dude, I appreciate it. Your money goes to one of my favorite things in the world on this channel. Alcohol. And improvements to the show. I see Aziel popping in. Nice shirt. It shocked me that you didn't have your usual tux on. There we go. Points. I see Official on Twitch with a $1 saying an imposter on the shorts. Yeah, unlike that other guy. Lycos Lore, wherever the tall guy was. I see Darkfire out there sharing that they made a bootleg sangria, like with Mike Hard black cherry lemonade and fruit. Did it taste good? And what kind of fruits did you add as a part of your sangria? Color me curious. Anyways, so just to kind of close out what I was talking about at Napa Valley Distillery, I got the opportunity to try the Petite Grain, a spirit made from, these are brandies. They are made from Sauvignon Blanc grapes. They are flavored, this one in particular, with the leaves and branches and parts other than the fruit of the navel orange tree. We had this bottle of geranium brandy, which is flavored with geraniums. I imagine it is floral, like cleaning product would be, not super sweet. And then we've got this blueberry flavored brandy, which again is not sweetened like some flavored brandies out there. It's not super blueberry forward, but it ends with an air in your mouth that is undeniably blueberry. One of the things that I forgot to mention about this Petite Grain here was this was the first spirit that we tried as a part of the tastings, and I wound up trying 7 different spirits while I was there. The flavor of this bitter leaf flavor with not a lot of other like sweet notes going on lingered on my palate for the entire tasting as our new pal Ruben, the guy who is behind the bar, our bartender, gave us all the details. A lot of the details I'm spitting at you is stuff that I regurgitated from Ruben, who was an excellent host. So huge shout out to Ruben, and best of luck with your next endeavors, my man. We appreciate it. Man, I'll be out there saying sobriety. Mark's hard hot dog water. Mike's hard hot dog water. Is that a thing? Oh man. Darkfire saying fruit punch, not actually fruit, but it was good. Oh, so you took fruit punch and you added it with Mike's hard. What was it? Mike hard black cherry lemonade. That sounds tasty, dude. That sounds tasty. If you like what was in your glass, and that's the way we like to see it. In addition, we stopped at a market. I got fenugreek seed to the folks. There was only one person that this is relevant to, and it's one of the Frenchmen. So, I've got your fenugreek, my friend. I've got it. In particular, too, I don't have appropriate notes on the wines that I tried at the wedding at the Satui Winery. I tried the 3 white wines. There was the Chardonnay, there was the Sauvignon Blanc, and there was the Riesling, and I tried 2 red wines. That was the Merlot and the Cabernet Sauvignon. I'm typically a Cabernet Sauvignon guy. I like the notes, the subtle notes of like butter and cream that I tend to get from some of the bottles that I've had. I also appreciate drier red wines with deeper notes of like dark red fruits and whatnot, like cherries, blackberries, and otherwise. The Merlot actually was my favorite of the red wines, and it was red wine in a way that I don't know how to describe it without having the glass there right in front of me. But in the midst of the hullabaloo of the wedding and the celebration and whatnot, that bottle completely turned my attention away from the events. One of the other people sitting at the table specifically called me out while we were sitting dinner as I stared into the distance and sipped upon and just pondered this glass of red wine and completely made fun of me for it. But he said it was quite entertaining to watch. So cheers to the other people at the table who got a different type of experience than the one y'all might be used to on this channel. Out of the white wines, I think the Chardonnay was my favorite. And again, I can't articulate why they were my favorite because I'm not good at describing the flavors of wines, especially when they're not in front of me. But maybe one day we'll do a little bit of exploration of wines from wine country. But those were the ones that I remember being very, very good. Very good indeed. Let's see. Ryan saying, all right, Cam, don't do this on stream, but look up how you say 12 months later in Estonian later. 12 months later in Estonian. I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it, but I don't understand. I don't understand why I shouldn't say it. I need another Glencairn. Put these down here. What else did I miss out there? I'll be saying I can't drink anymore because of hemochromatosis, so I live my bartender dreams through you, my Philly friend. Oh, thank you, dude. I appreciate it. It's hard to say that you got hemochromatosis. What does that one do again? Is that an affliction of the liver? I'm not a doctor. Hemochromatosis. If somebody pops on my stream and says, I can't do X because of Y, I want to know what it is. Hemochromatosis, iron overload. Also called excess iron. No way, dude. Wow. I'm curious. I don't want to pry into any details, Abby, but I'm curious of what about hemochromatosis that makes it such that you don't drink alcohol? Is it because your body can't process it, it messes things up, or does it interfere with some of the medications that you're on specifically for your condition? The more I learn about stuff like this, about what people in the world are drinking, that means that I can become a better mixologist. So that's hopefully, just because the person next to you is having an alcoholic beverage and enjoying their time, doesn't mean that you can't enjoy your experience, even though you can't have the alcohol in it. Obviously, and check out Dundee and Sherwood, or for Wine Country Journey, it means you absorb too much iron. Dude, that kind of stinks. But that just means that the mixologists in the world, should they choose to accept the challenge, have to work harder so that imbibers like you can have as much fun as the rest of us, albeit from the flavor journey, not necessarily the alcohol side of the journey, which for some people, they don't even want it anyways. Let's see. Darkfire's saying that the combo that they had tastes like actual sangria. Your mom even took a sip and asked if you had made sangria. And Ryan said that I should have Google pronounce it for you. I'm not. It's got J's and stuff in it. I don't know. I'm gonna keep that out for now. Instead, so actually, before I go, if it seems that I'm kind of all over the place, it's because, again, I got back to Philly about 2.5 hours ago, and I've been streaming for over half the time I've been back. Aside from changing my clothes and washing my face and using the bathroom, I really haven't unpacked anything anyways. Anna's been helping out with that in the background because we've both got work to do, and my work started about an hour and 40 minutes ago. So here we are. Let's do the infinity bottle. Before I tell you guys about, we're on Sunday now. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I still have a whole half of the trip to talk to you guys about. But let's do the infinity bottle first. What went into this last time? It's been a week. What did we put in here? What did we put in here? What was the last thing we put in here? Let me think about that. What was the last thing that we edited? There was Malort, then cognac, then spicy pickle vodka. It was the spicy pickle. Yeah, Eli, right on cue. Right on cue. Oh my goodness gracious. Ugh, love this music. I'm listening to a Sonic Lo-Fi playlist right now, y'all. That's delightful. Let's do it, y'all. I guess I can switch to, I'm not gonna do food and drink. I don't wanna. This is your infinity bottle. Every single time we drink... Damn, just got back from my trip. I'm so tired. I almost said every single time we drink from the bottle. That's incorrect, Cameron. That's not the line. It's not the line. Take two. This is your infinity bottle. Every single time we take from the bottle, we gotta put something back into the bottle, so let's give it a try so far. I just got back from California. Where's my outfit? Who is this guy? I got no fucking clue. I need to grab another Glencairn. Because the other ones I was using tasting spirits, and the other ones aren't clean. Oh my gosh. I see Abby saying it can cause increased risk of cirrhosis, heart damage, rhabdomyolysis due to a heavy deposit of iron, too much iron, and your blood cells turn into spiked discs. That sounds terrifying. Like, the way that you articulated that your blood cells turn into spiked discs sounds super freaking epic, but epicness in the blood, specifically your blood vessels, doesn't sound like a good thing. But it sounds so cool from somebody who might not be medically educated, which, by the way, I am not. I am not. Renzo saying, I just have to make it to Friday, and then I get to open your Final Fantasy MTG pre-release. Well, we're almost there. More than halfway there. Oh, dude. Because of the length of this cap, it is dripping right now. Oh, man, dude. The spicy pickle's back. I have to cleanse my palate. Brad, like, whoops, naughty word. Yeah, this is not a kid's show, by the way. I curse on stream. The Lorix podcast is for all people of all ages. CameroxnWithAnX show? Nope. Nope. Keep your children far away from the stream, unless you're that kind of parent, in which case, excellent. Abby saying, which can shred your blood veins and then need chelate. Yeah, but you can ward off fairies at the very least. There we go, dude. See, bright side of every story. Bright side of every story. Ryan, Cameron out of context. It's dripping right now while holding a vaguely suggestive decanter cap. It's not flared. At least not very significantly. Let's try it. That was a big pour. Yo, I just got back from California. I don't even know what drink I'm gonna do this in. This is what I get to... See, this is just a reminder, y'all. I basically did... Like, because I can collect a paycheck from YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch now, this means that this is technically one of my jobs. So, I do this for you, but also for me. Oh yeah, yep. I recognize that smell. We've officially regressed in the olfactory domain. That's intriguing. Compared to the last time we added spicy pickle, this is a heck of a lot fruitier. And it ends a lot drier. You know I gotta do it again. What is chat saying? Oh man. Everything's flavored if you tried hard enough, Bumble. Dude, that's the idea. That's the idea. Abby's saying as well, you got a missing protein, which protects you from HIV-1, but you're higher danger of deadly malaria infections. Dude, every rose has its thorn, and every infinity bottle has the inevitability of a cheesy dilly flavor. Once more, I guess? It is like sweet. It's like sweet, spicy, and spice forward. Spicy like a pepper, spice forward like cinnamon. And I get notes of both of them in there. And the Malort is sticking around just because of how much, like, the Malort makes its presence known just because of how lingering the dryness is at the end. But this is like... It's sweet, and it's spice forward. Like cinnamon spice forward. But I don't know where the cinnamon is coming from. Where am I getting cinnamon from? I would also consider that to be, like, mildly cheesy, but also a little chocolatey too. Like of the things that we had previously up to this point, I think the fruit notes. I convinced myself last time that what I'm tasting here is not fruit; it is sweet spice, not spice like a pepper, spice like your spice cabinet. So I don't think there's a lot of fruit notes in there, but I definitely think that I recall, ever since we added the coffee flavor, that there was a lingering note of like cacao or cocoa in there that I think is manifesting from the coffee. I still taste that. That lingering dryness reminds me so much of like dark cocoa powder, in a way. But now it's a bit spicy. It's still bitter. And there's a drying, there's like a, you know, and there's a numbing sensation in my mouth that makes me think that there's mint in there. But there isn't. At least not recently. Hasn't been any mint recently. Not at all. Not at all. Man. Intriguing. Intriguing is one of my favorite words to use when it comes to cocktail stuff. That next to herbaceous. Ryan saying you could do a sour, 2 ounces of infinity, half an ounce of lime, half an ounce of lemon, good little bit of simple syrup, and an egg white, possibly. I think I'm out of egg whites right now, because I don't think I kept them around when I was on vacation. Abby saying, could it be anything with a cardamom profile? Cardamom would be interesting. I don't have a good enough flavor description. I don't have a good enough idea of cardamom flavor on my palate to liken it to cardamom, but I can see cardamom in a way. I could see that in the way that cardamom kind of gives me vibes of spiced tea chai in a way, like chai reminiscent notes, like a chai tea, which I know is a redundant phrase, but like chai lattes and stuff like that. At least the way that I sometimes make them with like chai, and I've got fennel in the house, sometimes anise, cinnamon, if I got it. Typically put that in the chai latte if I'm making it for myself. I'm thinking a sour could be interesting with this. I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. Let me give this one more taste. One more taste, see where we get with it. Dude, it smells pickly, man. But I don't taste a lot of the pickle. Oddly enough, I don't taste a lot of the pickle. I'm getting like sweet, savor, spice stuff. Sweet, savor, spice stuff. Compared to, like, if I had to categorize this, this is like a spiced liqueur. This is a very unique spiced liqueur. So what would you use a spiced liqueur in? And again, like, the infinity bottle calls for 2 ounces of this stuff. So what would you use it as the base of? Oh my gosh. Brian's got the idea of a sour type drink. I think I want to do this in some sort of highball. Do I have any orange juice? Have I tried this in a screwdriver? I don't think I've tried this in a screwdriver. I just want to see what happens if we put this with orange juice. It's simple. It's simple and sweet. I want to see how the orange juice plays with the other flavors in here, because that could be kind of interesting. And it's also really easy to do. I just have to defrost some of my oranges because I don't have orange juice on stock here. I'll be saying star anise with kumquat muddled against a smoked cognac. That sounds tasty, dude. I need to get more kumquats in my life. Oh, excuse me. I've got an ad apparently starting in 10 minutes. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to snooze that ad by running an ad. I'm going to grab oranges and I'm going to thaw them. And we're going to do an infinity screwdriver. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to click this button. Ad should start in a hot minute after I click that button. As they do, I'm going to go get some oranges and do that. There we go. I'll be back in a hot minute, chat. And then I got more tales to tell you from the California land. Hi, chat. Back. I got oranges thawing. Big Callan. Welcome back, dude. Back from California to be your bartender for, I don't know, maybe the next hour? I don't really know. Ryan saying a hot toddy could be a good option for Monday. Oh, ooh, hot toddy could be nice, because then I can heat up some water. Dude, actually, I like the idea of the toddy. Monday. I imagine, dude, if I pick... Depending on which brandy I pick for this. Ooh, it's gonna be interesting if we do that in a toddy. It's definitely gonna be, one of these 2 brandies that I just picked up that are very, very floral. I just don't know whether it's gonna be the geranium or the petite grain off the top of my head. When I left too, I left a bunch of dishes that were cleaned. So we're gonna clean this up while my oranges are thawing downstairs. We're doing an infinity screwdriver. And as such, I need orange juice, but I just got back from California, so I don't have anything currently prepared. Welcome back to everybody else. We'll be continuing our regularly scheduled show on Monday. Because I'm too tired to play a video game tonight. And instead, I got too much other stuff to do. I'm falling behind on my projects, chat. I've fallen behind. What will I do? Make content. Just like I'm doing right now. But I'm not wearing my outfit. I'm also just curious to see how the non-live stream viewers will react to me without my outfit on. It's funny when they react to Anna when she guest stars and when Lycos Lore guest starred on the Infinity Bottle the one time. I think somebody keeps thinking that Anna's my sister. Not accurate. Somebody was like, Lycos Lore is your brother. Also not accurate. At least not in the familiar, like a blood kind of way. Welcome back from the ads, everybody. I grabbed my orange strainer, and the oranges are downstairs. I'm also grabbing some clean dishes that I'm putting back up at the bar, just saving myself some effort later. If you're popping in now, I just got back from California about an hour before the stream started, so I'm going through some stories of my adventures. I brought some brandies back with me from Napa Valley, California. I just tasted those. I also drank some wine. I talked about wine. Didn't bring any wine back with me specifically because I'm just not much of a wine person. I'm more of a cocktail person, at least at this particular point in my venture. And when we're done with the Infinity Bottle segment, I'll tell you a bit about my Disneyland trip, as well as what happened in between days 1 and 2 of the trip. Because I've just kind of been vamping about that stuff for a while, because I don't know how to shut up naturally. Ryan being like, if Anna was your sister, you'd be in Alabama, not in Pennsylvania. Yo, whoa, it's so insulting to the folks in Alabama. Love runs deep, chat. Let's not look into that any further. I'm grabbing my oranges. Coming back, chat. Trying to be a one-trip hero, it's not working. I got the oranges. Y'all know what I mean when I say like a one-trip hero, right? It's like when you go downstairs or you go to the car and you get back from the grocery store and you try to do everything in one trip. I can't do that, especially not with glassware. I wouldn't trust myself, but I try to grab as many things as I possibly can. And so far, I haven't broken anything recently. Especially when you have like more than a dozen pieces of glass to bring up after before a show. I tend to try to bring them up as much as I possibly can, including some of my equipment, just in case we got more cocktail work we want to do. So, taking you all along the ride for some of my other things that I have to do here. There's a bit of behind the scenes work that happens here at the Bar with an X, you know? So I'm gonna juice these oranges real quick in preparation for the Infinity Bottle. You could probably also garnish with one of these orange wedges. I don't really want to. I don't want to. I'm gonna do this. Freshly thawed from the freezer with an X, whose name is Ruth. Who, oddly enough, does not have an X in her name. Not that freezer, at least. Officials like orange. It's true. Yeah. I'm gonna use the juice of 2 oranges. Will it be enough? I hope so, because I'm not grabbing any more oranges. I don't want to. Bubblebee saying, when I was a kid, I remember putting on your mom's heels, which were like the only thing there, and trying to grab every bag at the same time. Dude, I imagine this was in the heat of Mama gets home, says, I need help with groceries, so you put on whatever shoes are immediately available, and you go out there, and you try to be the best damn child that you can possibly be. Because that's what I tried to do when I still lived in my mother's house, and I still try to do it now. Because, like, in Philadelphia, we wind up walking to the grocery store, so when we come back, we're usually, it's hard to take multiple trips. Actually, I don't think we ever do take multiple trips, because I don't want to go back to the store. It's like a walk away, and I don't want to do that. I see the tiny green gadgets popping back in and being like, remember me? Off the top of my head, I'm finding it hard to remember what the association is. I do apologize. There are like hundreds of people that wind up popping through the stream either for a minute or a month or otherwise. But please, remind me. Something about yourself. And if it's the profile picture, then that's hard for me to work with because the profile picture is really, really tiny, and I usually don't wear my glasses, so I can see it today. It's a beautiful shade of blue. But aside from that, I might need something a little bit to work with. I also changed, everybody's got unique colors on their usernames now, because I turned that feature off last week, so it makes it easier for me to tell people apart. I see Green Gadget saying, I was in the hospital and I found you. Ah, okay. I think I recall, and if you are the person I'm thinking about, you were there for our charity event, right? If I recall. And if you are the same person that I was thinking about, I had a feeling that I caught into a vibe. I hope you're doing okay. But if it's under the same circumstances as last time, I don't mind vibe checking things again. And for vibe check, the folks who know, they know. And otherwise, it's my subtle way of warning you. Anyways, I'm seeing Bubble saying, exactly, dude. Whatever shoes that you can wind up getting access to, and you go out there and you be the best damn son, daughter, child, or otherwise. Green Gadget saying you're doing better, thanks. I'm happy to hear it, dude. I'm happy to hear it. I'm glad that we meet again under good circumstances and good news as well. I see Dr. Super Penguin popping in. Evening, Cam. Good to see you, Doctor. Dr. Super Penguin, I must ask. I'm curious, and you don't have to answer the question. You don't must answer, but I must ask. What kind of doctor are you? Do you actually have a doctorate? Is it a doctorate in zoology? I wouldn't call myself Dr. Mix because I don't actually have a doctorate. And I wouldn't call my partner Dr. Mix because she's not a doctorate of mixology. What song do we got playing right now? Yeah, put a little bit of that in my ears. We got a Sonic Lo-Fi playlist playing today, because I was vibing to that on my trip. Dr. Super Penguin's like, there is no doctorate. That's okay. I won't tell anyone. I won't tell anybody. Your secret's safe with me. Or if it's not a secret at all, then we appreciate the honesty. Ryan, like, you could call yourself Sir Mix-a-Lot. It's true, and I do like big butts. And I would never lie about it. But the butts I'm into are usually as it pertains to fruit and not humans. I have a partner, you see. I don't want to make anybody jealous, you know? I see Diamond saying, I'm back, which is coding a game or something, which is great. We do the Infinity Bottle. We are doing the Infinity Bottle. I see Hot Hope on Twitch saying, hi from the Infinity Bottle on Instagram to the live making. It's true. I'm doing the Infinity Bottle right now, actually. You popped in during the segment. I just got back from California, so I'm not in my usual getup because I flew in. I got back to my to the bar about an hour before the stream began. So I am just as energetic as I usually am, minus the extra stimulation from a video game, because I'm tired. No game today. That's what my sign says. No game today. Am tired, and that's accurate. But good to see you popping over from the Instagram side, Hod. Welcome in. Welcome in. If you came with a suggestion for the Infinity Bottle, I look forward to you sticking around and permanently marking your place on the Infinity Bottle. Today, the Infinity Redemption came from one of my moderators, More Than Awesome, who says to me to pick the second best brandy that I picked up while I was in California. I have 3 of them, and I'm trying to think of the second best. The 2 bests are absolutely this bottle of geranium brandy and this bottle of petite grain, or basically orange leaf and branch brandy. But I don't know which one. So maybe I'll let you guys pick. Off the top of your heads, chat, does leaves sound better for the Infinity Bottle or flowers? Knowing that right now we just put more spicy pickle back into it. Diamond saying, XBar cam and casual wear doesn't exist. He can't hurt you. XBar cam and casual wear doesn't exist. It's okay. It's okay. If I take my glasses off, everything's normal. And I have to put my outfit on, which is currently sitting over there. There's nothing stopping me from putting the outfit on. I just don't want to. This is me trying to be vulnerable with the internet. And honest. Here I am. Harold with the mint leaf. Beautiful, beautiful. Hod saying, I've been lurking for like 2 weeks now. Oh, incredible, dude. Well, thanks for coming out of the woodwork. I am totally okay with lurkers. I, for one, am a rather antisocial person as it pertains to my online presence in other people's chats and stuff. We appreciate our lurkers. If you are a lurker and you haven't come out of the woodwork yet or don't ever want to, love you, dude. Never change. Unless you want to. Unless you want to. You're always welcome at my bar, whether you are verbal, non-verbal, or otherwise. Okie dokie. I just juiced 2 oranges because we're going to do an infinity screwdriver, and I wanted to make sure that I got everything all done. Hod being like hides again. No worries, dude. I appreciate you popping in and introducing yourself. Absolutely no pressure to say anything. If you're like me, you'd rather just be enjoying the show as it happens and just receding back into the proverbial hedge bush from The Simpsons. And I appreciate that. Okie dokie. Back to what we need to do for the edits. Put this down, make sure my volume's kind of low so I don't get any feedback on my microphone. There we go. An infinity screwdriver couldn't be that bad, right? Like, it's two ingredients. It can't, the screwdriver can't hurt me, right? Maybe? Gotta find out. We'll find out. Abby being like, you're my favorite streamer, bro. Dead ass. No way. Whose ass is dead, and why was it mine, specifically my flights back this morning? I will not be expanding upon this further. Oh my gosh. Grab a tall glass, fill it up with ice. Do I want that one? Do I want that one? What glass do I want to grab? I'll grab this one. Grab a tall glass, fill it up with ice. If I didn't say it already. If I look tired, I've already told you why like 4 times. Stop asking me. Nah, I'm just kidding. I got back from California. You can ask me as many times as you want to. Okay, that's all my ice. Okay. Alrighty then. I have more ice. It's just downstairs. Get it later. I see Bumble saying, very off topic, but did you know Lunchables now sells a big version, like a charcuterie, like a whole charcuterie board of Lunchables? I didn't know about that. Oh, wait, dude. I like Lunchables. Actually, I think, why did I have Lunchables recently? We use this app called Too Good To Go to buy discount groceries. It's not bad. It's not as bad as you think. It's just the stuff that they're going to wind up selling. It's perfectly good, but people don't want them and they want to stock shelves with them. And we got Lunchables one time. And Anna and I shared a Lunchable. It was a good time. It was a good time indeed. All right. Let's start with 2 ounces of our Infinity Mix. It can't hurt us, right? It can't hurt us, the screwdriver. At least I hope. I hope it don't. I hope it don't. Abby saying, also a polite way of saying bullshit. Moo poo. Moo poo? Well, I mean, that's true because bulls are male cows and shit is poop. It makes sense. It makes sense. All right. Let's start with 2 ounces of our Infinity Mix. If I didn't say so already. Put that there. Willpower, welcome in, dude. Welcome in. And then fill the rest up. Actually, do we spike it with a little bit of vodka? I'm not going to put any vodka in this because there's already vodka in the infinity bottle. Fill the rest of it with orange juice. Cool. And that's it. Give it a small agitation with a small spoon. I got this one. Get real close. Tiny spoon, tiny spoon. There we go. I mean, it isn't the smallest spoon I have. Technically. It is the cutest, though. Admittedly. Hot Hope asking, where did you get the idea for the Infinity Bottle? Did you think it would be this good? Did I think that this particular segment was going to perform as well as it did? No. The idea I got for the Infinity Bottle is I have an Infinity Bottle of whiskey, and I thought, well, what would happen if I opened up my entire bar collection, and I told you what to put me into it? Because I've been live streaming for a couple of years now, and I've been doing this mixology stuff for about a year after the fact, and I was like, this sounds like a devious idea, and so long as I put guardrails in place such that I can protect the amount of work that I have to put into it, it could be good, or it could be totally disastrous. So, we'll see. We'll see. Oziel asking, are we doing a full stream? Nah, I'm gonna be doing this, and I'm gonna share with y'all about the next half of my trip. So I'm gonna say probably about another hour more. We're not going till 2 a.m. because I've been traveling since about 10 a.m. this morning Eastern time, but it was 6 a.m. Pacific when I left. So there we go. Infinidriver. I hardly know her. Only time I'm making that joke this stream, by the way. Only time I'm making that joke this edit. Oh, that's funky. It's like... Oh. That's weird. It's not bad. No. It's not desirable. Ugh. For some reason, this screwdriver tastes sweeter than it was. No, yeah. It's... Oh, what would you... Ugh. It is sweet, and it is orange. But it's also a tad bit spicy. It's got this off-putting grapefruit bitterness to it. It ends? It ends pretty good. But to get there... Oh, there was something really weird for a second there. What was that? I wouldn't say it tastes very pickly. If you took, like, spiced orange tea, sweetened it way too much, didn't add enough water, and, like, used a really dirty mug that may or may not have been used for hot chocolate in the past, and then chilled it a lot. That's kind of the combination of flavors that I'm getting right now. It's not good. It's unique. Nobody asked for this. I'm so confused, dude. Wow. What did I miss out there? I see Prodigal on YouTube saying, have you seen the How to Drinks episode where he created the infinity bottle, then he made a cocktail out of it? Yeah, dude, I totally did. I've been commenting on every single one of his posts because I want Senpai to notice me! Greg Senpai has not noticed me yet. But I've got contacts. We're trying to make sure that he does. Oh my gosh. Chat's talking about a rusty screwdriver. Rusty screwdriver? Like a rusty nail? Doesn't that need scotch in it? Doesn't a rusty nail need Drambuie and scotch in it or something? I think. This doesn't have any Drambuie in it yet. Not yet. Ryan said the hot toddy is sounding a lot better now. Dude, it kind of is. I feel like that would have been a better idea. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh. Oziel saying, is that a mustache coming in? Yeah, I haven't shaved in like 3 days, man. They took my... I have a story. Remind me to tell you what happened to my razor blades, and I will tell you why I have a mustache. Because there's a reason behind it, and I forgot about it until now. I blocked it out. Ryan's saying that citrus cuts vinegar, so that's probably why you aren't getting much of the pickle taste. Yeah, no, I really don't. It's not very pickly to me, but it also wasn't very pickly to begin with, even tasting the infinity bottle, you know? Oh my gosh. Cry, my sympathies in your direction. That's not a topic for this chat here, but Bomble's saying, what if you did add some vodka? Would it make it better? It would water it down a little bit from like a flavor perspective. It will extend some flavors in there. It could be good. It might not be super good. I don't really know. Official like sounds like a TSA story. Accurate. Cody saying, gotta jump out soon, but hope everyone's having a great day. Cody, I hope the same in your direction. Ryan, like they confiscated your razor blades during the cavity search, didn't they? Very close. Very close. It was funny to me, chat. It was funny to me. But yeah, they took him at TSA. Long story short, they took him at TSA. Yeah. This also kind of reminds me, like, it does give a mild vibe of Tabasco orange juice. But, like, not Tabasco. Hot sauce orange juice. But not a lot of hot sauce. I'm curious. I'm curious. Hold up a second. I'm curious. Does it give vibes of Tabasco orange juice? Would this be better with Tabasco sauce? I have this now, by the way, chat. It's on the website. I haven't opened it yet either. I'm just curious. Does this taste better with Tabasco sauce? Six dashes of Tabasco sauce. I don't know, man. Mixology's a wild ride. To be honest, it tastes better now. It's more spicy than it was. But it's more balanced than it was previously. What is in this? It's literally just distilled vinegar, red pepper, and salt. The sour notes from the vinegar are balancing out some of the sweeter notes. This idea could use some work. But it's not bad. It's not bad. Bubble, like, not the knife to stir it. Oh, I absolutely did. I absolutely did. Man. I'll be saying I'm looking more like Watsky Live with that mustache. Thank you. Salt, the salt will help too. Yeah, what else is in this? This is distilled vinegar, red pepper, and salt. Yeah, that'll help for the round things out. Just made it a little bit more. If I had smoked salt, that'd be a really good idea, Avi. But unfortunately, I don't. Not right now. Not right now. All right. Yeah, I'm done with that. I'm done with that. I want no part of this anymore. I'll put it on one of my new coasters from Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar. Put this to the side. So let's see. What does Brad say? Second best brandy. What is it? The second best brandy thing that is new. So we'll look at that. Let me stack these in such a way that this actually makes sense. These are all different sized bottles. That's so fun. Wow. More Than Awesome says to pick the second best new brandy that I picked up while I was in California. I've got a blueberry, a geranium, and a petite grain. My two favorites are the flower and the grain. And between the two of them, this one tastes most like a leaf. This one tastes most like a leaf, so that's my favorite. So the second one is the flower. So, geranium brandy. That's a unique one, isn't it? Abby's like, geranium. Dude, I see that. Ozzy, I like hot sauce. Why not tahini? The vinegar. The vinegar is what I was looking for. I wanted to see if that was going to counteract anything because I found it pretty sweet. And the vinegar is has acetic acid in it, and that should balance out some of the sweetness and potentially give just a little bit of extra dilution from some of the other flavors. And also something that Ryan said earlier, that vinegar cuts through citrus. I wanted to see how that was gonna play. And lo and behold, I got something. Official saying, in Mexico, you aren't allowed any liquids, especially not alcohol. Oh, no liquids at all. That's intriguing. I had a little bottle of spiced Bacardi that got confiscated on a local flight. Oh, dude, that stinks, dude. It stinks. And Orion's point too, I'm still scarred from the tahini. I'm not scarred from the tahini infusion. Maybe I am a little bit. Let's take 2 ounces of this. Oh my god, dude. It's one of the reasons I picked up this bottle. Put that into the infinity bottle. And then we'll check on this again next time. I told you it was infinity eligible. And it is. The fresh new bottle. For those of you who joined me during the live stream, you know that there's a small indicator on this bottle. And if you joined me for when I swapped the bottle, this bottle is smaller than the last one, so I have a little bit of infinity number 36 that I'm slowly but surely adding back into the bottle, so that the math continues to work out. Official, like, I have the mark of the tahini. Oh my gosh. Oh man. So let's see, I'm gonna add just enough to this until I get up to that line. That's line enough. Previously, I considered taking this and adding it to the stock so we can do mixology with number 36 specifically, but it throws off the math significantly, so I'm not gonna do it. All right, y'all. That's your infinity bottle. I apologize, I didn't do it with as much gusto as usual. I am a tired boy, dude. I'm a tired boy. All right, let's put that back up here. Number 40. Infinity 40, chat. We made it. There we go. I'll update that in my programming. There we go. Official saying Jumex has hard juices in the US, not in Mexico. Jumex, the Mexican company of juice. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Jumex. Or Jumex. Like Hugo. As I imagine how you would pronounce that. All right, let me open up my back end so I can add geranium brandy. That is a unique addition to the bottle. I would consider this infinity bottle to be unique in a couple of different ways. One, because the internet decides what goes into it. And second of all, I'm not like your run-of-the-mill, like, dive bar kind of bar. I'm a mixology bar, so I've got weird flavors. And it's getting weirder by the day. Geranium brandy. Geranium brandy. All right, that's been updated. With the infinity command, we can see what's in it. Specifically. Infinity bottle done, check, which means for the entire week that I wasn't making content, I think we've been able to fill up the buffer gap. So thank you for helping me with that. Let's see. Abby saying, a Boozer's Bouquet geranium, a Boozer's Bouquet geranium brandy, rosewater noted rum, lavender infused vodka, dragon fruit infused rum, hibiscus liqueur, all the different flowers all combining together. Dude, what do I not have there? We could add rosewater to rum to make a rosewater rum. That's not difficult. Lavender infused vodka, I don't specifically have, but we can make that, right? Dragon fruit infused rum. I've done dragon fruit infusions before, and they don't turn out the way that I want them to. So I would wonder if anybody sells like a dragon fruit rum specifically. I think Bacardi does, off the top of my head. Hibiscus liqueur? I don't have one of those either. We got ways to work up to it. Take anything I give. My ideas are for the people. Albie, I can't guarantee that I'm going to remember it, so I'll remind anybody out there, if you wanted me to remember anything on the stream, exclamation point suggest, and just copy and paste whatever it was. That way, your message gets memorialized in our Discord server. I go through all of those suggestions, because typically I'm drinking a lot more than I am right now, and I can't guarantee that I'm going to remember everything, because from my perspective, just to remind you all, this is a bit of an info dump, not only from me to you, but also from all of you to one brain. So, suggest command. That'll be what I would request for that. Ryan saying absinthe needs to be next. 5 weeks until 50. Saving up for it. And official being like dragon fruit, aka pitaya. It's not a very normal berry. No, it is not. No, it is not. Bumble saying too, remember to add that to your stock as well. Yes, all of these bottles will still... Actually, let's do that now. Let's do this now. Y'all want some behind the scenes of how the stock works? Because I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you. Let me just make sure we don't got any weird information back here. Let me hide this thing. Let me turn my music up a little bit. Yeah, we're just chatting right now. I don't have a show to run, really. Really? Do I have anything? Let me just double check this page. Make sure there's nothing that could potentially harm us if I show it to the stream. Blogs, Reddit, YouTube, inventory. There's a hash page up there, but you would need the login for it. Website, inventory. I think we're good. I think we're good. Trackball mouse. It's my blue ball. It's the only one I ever show the internet. Ryan saying, I'm just now noticing. Do I see a keyblade on your wall next to the Chaos Emerald? No, that's Sonic. Every time you acknowledge Sonic, I turn in the other direction. Thanks for acknowledging Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, chat. Let me show you how the backend looks. This is the actual backend, by the way. And I don't think there are any passwords in here. Probably not. Actually, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that, and we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that there. That's probably okay. It's probably okay. All right, let me do this button. Let me do this button. Let me check this button here. Click this here. It's a window. The window I want is Chrome. There we go. Brian, like, my eyes must be horrendous if I couldn't see Sonic. Yeah, it's blue! Obviously. Official, like, API keys galore. I don't think so. There's a URL back here, and it's got some hash value. I don't think it's important. But you know what I could do? Actually, you know what I could do? Probably make this even easier for myself and even safer for myself. We're just gonna click F11. Now you can't see any of that shit, hopefully. Let's see. Let's see if I dox myself. Let's see. Oh, that's the... That's funny. That's the wrong... That's the live screen, actually. What's the keybind for switching tabs? That's funny. That's hilarious. Okay, hold up. I gotta click this button. Oh, that's the right way. Hold up. There we go. Oh, but I kind of do need... Oh, okay, I need another one. Hold up a second. I click this button, and I bring it over... other screen, please. Other screen, please. Where'd you go? I need to get pictures for these guys. I need pictures. Pictures. There we go. These are from Napa Valley Distillery. Whatever. I think we're fine here. Napa Valley Distillery. What do they got with their shop? This is the thing. Give me the shop page. Syrups, tonics, craft spirits. This is what I want. Welcome back, Wolfie. Ryan like, ooh, I can see your stream key. No, you can't. I know. Can you see my stream key? No, you can't. You can't see my stream key. Ryan with the gaslighting as always. As always. What else did I miss out there? I'm just messing with you. Of course you are. These are the craft spirits that they got, but the ones that I grabbed are the brandies. Gin has two ends, and I don't know why. We have the petite grain neutral brandy, geranium neutral brandy, and the blueberry. I have the top 4 options. Floral goodness, apparently. Was that a cocktail? No, it is not. Do they have cocktails to make with these? Ooh, very cool. So this is how I do my inventory. I have these bottles of mine, where I add a new item, add some new things here. Again, I don't think I'm exposing any weird information here. If I am, hopefully somebody smarter can tell me that. So these are all Napa Valley Distillery from Napa, California. Napa Valley Distillery geranium neutral brandy. And that, I think, there's no weird symbols. So this is essentially geranium brandy. Geranium grape brandy, because it's all made from grapes. It is infinity eligible. This is a base spirit. Oh, spirit. Spirits. This is a base spirit. This is a brandy. This is a flavored spirits. It's actually not a base spirit. Sorry. This is a flavored spirit. What kind of flavored spirit? It is a brandy. There we go. Wolfie out there saying that your internet is shit. I've been struggling to get it on for like a half an hour. Well, evidently something's working now because you've managed to join us, right? So the geranium was this guy. Take that guy. Add a little picture. Add a little picture. There we go. This is from the United States. Specifically, Napa, hello there. Oh, I forgot. They don't do commas anymore. Napa, California. Napa and California. Spirit base is brandy, distilled from Sauvignon Blanc grapes. Because I know that from the distiller, actually. Flavors, geranium flower. Geranium flower. Proof is they're all 80 proof. No tags. And limited, because I don't know where I'm going to be getting that anytime. Ryan said, I'd hide the address bar on your browser just in case that hash can be used as a spoof and auth token. That's a good idea. How do I hide that? How do I hide that? Can I do that? Always show full URLs. I don't want to do that. How do I hide that? Hide URL bar Chrome. I'm just gonna look it up and then take y'all back to over here for a hot second. You can enter full screen mode. Alternative, you can create a shortcut to open the desired web page. Oh, okay. Okay, fine. Well, evidently I'm not allowed to. Just doesn't work that way. No, that's a good point. That's a good point. Ryan is smart. Ryan is smart. All right, we'll do this later. We'll do this later. We'll do this later. Okie dokie. I appreciate your mind, Ryan. I appreciate that. Official being like, you developed this, or is it off the shelf? It's just Wix. Yeah, it's just Wix. When I do have things inventoried, I'd put a little marker on the back of the bottle. We'll move on. We'll move on. Let's see. Cool. Let's continue on with my adventure, right? So, for anybody popping in here a little bit later, I just did the infinity bottle. I added this bottle of geranium brandy to the infinity bottle because it was my second favorite of the brandies that I picked out. The first favorite being this petite grain, which is made from the stems and leaves of navel orange tree. Oh, Bumble saying TSC story reminder. Yeah, dude. Just by the way, I will give you a small warning ahead of time, a potential trigger warning. I will be making reference to national events to tell this story, national tragical events to tell this story. So, I transitioned to using a straight razor a while ago. I just like that it gets a little bit of a closer shave. It's a little bit of a learning curve, but I personally like it. So, me, being the smart guy that I am, decides we don't need to check a bag into the airport. Instead, I just keep it in my carry-on luggage, and lo and behold, I have my razor, and I pack 10 extra blades, and I take it through the TSA, and naturally the bag gets pulled aside, and they pull my bag because they're like, oh, bro, this guy's got razor blades in one of his carry-on items. It's the first time I've packed this razor in a specifically in a non-check bag, and it completely slipped my mind, right? It's just one of those things that I was like, I'm gonna be shaving. This is how I do it. There's no ill intent behind this. But naturally, the TSA agent pulls it to the side, and he's like, you've got a razor in here. And I was like, I do. I got my razor in there. And he's like, why do you have a razor in here? And I'm like, because I want to shave my face. And he's like, why do you have blades in here? And I don't really understand the question, because I'm like, I want to shave my face. I'm not sure I understand. And the dude looks me in the eyes and goes, sir, you realize we had 9/11, right? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I understand. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, oh, I see why now. But something about the way that the TSA agent was like, instead of being like, hey, this is prohibited by federal guidelines, was just like, looked at me. By the way, I think, what is it? It happened in the early 2000s. I was a child at the time, right? And I might not be the best, like, historical person on the face of the earth. So naturally, the way that he articulated it to me was direct in such a way that just felt a little, like, mildly condescending, but super straight to the point. And I couldn't help it. I felt so bad because in that moment, I couldn't help but laughing internally because there was this certain comedic value of me totally missing the point of why you can't bring razor blades onto a plane where your bag can potentially be used for whatever purposes. The irony of me not realizing the obviousness of what he was saying and him having to basically give me 3 attempts to figure out why I couldn't have them and then just be super direct with it. So the way that I remember it was I got my bag back and I moved on. He took the blades away and I wound up getting something by the, something with the cartridge razors in it, which I didn't realize that you could take multi-blade cartridge razors, but not straight razor blades. It's just new information to me as a young mid to late 20-year-old traveling in this year, our Lord 2025. But the way that I kept referring to it after I got pulled aside and joined the rest of the group was like, yeah, so he reminded me that a national tragedy happened within the last 25 years, and that's why I can't have my razor blade. And just the way that it exists in my head had a much more, like, ephemeral comedic energy to it, despite the fact, and ultimately, he took the blades away, and I walked along my merry way, and I got some new stuff when I actually got to my final location, and now I have an extra razor blade that I can apparently keep on checked bags with me, because those multi-bladed razors are not restricted by federal guidelines, but straight razor blades, for obvious reasons, are. It just didn't click with me at the airport, so. Jay Nellis being like, TSA's wild, they power trip so hard. Yeah, man, and even still, like, in addition to that, right after that, my partner's bag got pulled aside because I forgot to take the iPad out of the bag. And so with the same, so actually he was a lot nicer to Anna than he was to me, probably because, I don't know, say what you want about gender orientation and the way that people treat you depending on what you orient as. But he was like, oh, he left the iPad in here? I feel like he probably didn't actually say this, but in my head he said, oh, he left an iPad too? This guy. I was like, what? Oh my gosh. Anyways, to me it had a certain comedic energy, and the way that I referred to it after the fact was instead of being like, this item is prohibited via federal guidelines, I'm going to have to take it out, he had to educate me and remind me that, did you know within the last 25 years we had a national tragedy? And so for probably one too many times during the rest of that trip, to the rest of our group, I'd be making reference to the, oh, you're not allowed to open a wine bottle like that. Are you aware of the fact that we had a national tragedy in the last 25 years? Anyways, I don't want to make too many jokes about that, but in that moment, it had this weird comedic energy to me. That's my TSA story. And so we shall move on. Oh, man. Official out there saying, just tried to get a single green onion, the Walmart cashier didn't even let you get one. Didn't let you get one, just one. I had to get the whole bunch of like 4 green onions. That's weird. That's a completely different type of power trip. I see Jay out there saying that you fly with your check gun. I have less problems checking your bag with a gun and ammo than going through security with barely anything. Really, dude? That's intriguing to me. Knowing that a national tragedy has happened within the last 25 years or so. I will not be making any more references to that going forward, but I see Crocodile saying, just popping in to say hey, and separately, TSC people scare me. Dude, it's something about people in authority points, you know? Oh my gosh. Ryan, like, you don't want to make any more jokes about it, but look at those bottles that you have set up. There's 4 of these here, Ryan. There's 4 of them. But yeah, look at those guys. Did you know that we had a... Anyway. Anyway, I move on. What else did we have? So at this point, I'm going to gloss through most of what else happened while we were in California. We went to a great wedding. We sampled some good wine. We went on a couple of hiking trips too. One in Sonoma County and one in the Napa Valley, or one in, I don't remember what town we were in. We've got some really, really great views at the top of one of these mountains. I think it was the Vargas. One was at the top of, I guess it was Mount Veeder or something like that. And one was on an outlook place of this cattle grazing ground on Vargas Plateau. And it was very beautiful. And on Vargas Plateau in particular, I was doing a little bit of, one of the friends that we were traveling with has a field guide specifically for the plants that grow in the California region. And so I found these little buds on the ground that looked like they might be edible. So I did my research and I found that they were pineapple weed, aka wild chamomile. So on this path, I decided on a number of different occasions to pick pineapple weed off the ground and smushed them. And apparently when you smush wild chamomile, it smells like pineapple. And it smelled like pineapple, so I put it in my mouth. I did not swallow. Spitters are not just quitters. Sometimes they're safe and alive. Especially when you're in an unfamiliar area. In any case. I see Draxuar popping in chat with a beautiful screaming crow emote. Welcome back from California. Hope you're doing well. Things are going well. I'm just kind of tired. So, no normal show tonight. Just talking about a bit of our adventures. Ozzyl saying, this reminded me of the episode of Family Guy where Meg works at the airport and it shows all of them just absolutely power tripping. Yeah, something about people in authority powers. It's just wild to me. Brian, stop. No more jokes about national tragedies. Put that to the side. Keep it in your glass. What else happened in California? After we were done in Sonoma County, we drove to Berkeley for a bit. We wound up getting 2 Airbnbs. The one Airbnb is where I found the large bushes of ornamental rosemary, which I didn't put in my mouth, but I smelled for uncomfortably long moments of time. Before I realized that what I was smelling was not pine needles, it was rosemary, and I was the dum-dum. The second place that we had was in Berkeley, so we got to roam the Berkeley area ever so briefly, and we went to a sake museum, specifically the oh my god, what was the name of the sake museum? I'm gonna figure it out. I think it was Suchin Min, I think? Sake Museum, Berkeley. Sake Museum, Berkeley. It was Takara Sake USA Inc. This was the... What was the sake? What was the sake? I wish I might. I am 21 years of age or older. That is exactly the place that I went. Please accept all of my cookies. Shochikubai. Sake Museum. And my stick... I hate this marker sometimes. Throw it across the room. Show. There we go. Show. Chiku. Bai. Sake. Shochikubai. Shochikubai was the name of the sake, or was the sakes that they were tasting that we tried at the Takara Sake USA Inc., the Sake Museum, which was kind of cool. Let's see. I see Wolfie out there saying the TSC is so mean, my bag always gets pulled over, but never have to give stuff up. Like, why? Maybe you're on a list. I don't know. I don't know. But so we stopped at the Sake Museum, and I'm not going to bore you with the details now, but in particular, we got to try, there were, I think, a total of 8 or 9 different sakes that we could try, ranging anywhere from unfiltered sakes, filtered sakes, Daiginjo-style sakes, Junmai sakes, other type of sakes. I will likely be, like piecemeal giving information that I learned from the Sake Museum as the streams go on. I gave you all a complete info dump on shochu a while back because of a seminar that I went to, and I've got almost an equal amount of information that I now learned from specifically that Sake Museum experience just because of the information that we learned there. In particular, the cool thing about sake is that sake, as opposed to winemaking and beer making, occurs via a parallel fermentation process, as opposed to wines, where you mush up grapes, which already have sugar, and then allow that juice to ferment. And as opposed to beer, where you take grains and convert starches into sugar first before fermentation can happen, that specific step called saccharification, where you create sugar from starches, sake is made in parallel. Rice is inoculated with this mold called koji. Koji converts some of the starches into sugars, but before the entire saccharification process is complete, you take the inoculated rice, throw it into a batch with yeast, so fermentation happens at the same time as saccharification. So at the same time that you have starches being converted to sugars, specifically glucose, you have glucose being converted into alcohol, which I think is super freaking cool, dude. Also, I learned that for the most part, you usually use only one type of koji for sake making. In particular, I think it's yellow koji. In particular, they use a specific type of rice grain called the Calrose rice. There are other different colors of koji. I think there's black koji, There is white koji, which I might have mentioned when I've given you the info dump on shochu and stuff before. It's just a whole nother world of spirits, or in particular, fermented stuff. And I also learned, too, that apparently sake can indeed be above 20% alcohol, but I don't think I've found one recently that is that high, because typically they're like a low EBV wine. So as I go after this, I wanted to pull out this bottle of premium Junmai sake that I have, which is only 14% alcohol, and I want to use that as my next drink, because I'm running a little bit dry, and I'm going to be fancy and put it in one of my new grappa glasses. This is not the way that you would typically serve sake. You'd use a small carafe for that, but this is what I got. And this is what I'm going to use. In particular, I've had this bottle at the Bar with an X for a little while. At least from what's labeled on this bottle so far, there are a couple of words on this that are in fact in Japanese, and some of them do actually have like specific meanings to them. Not every sake bottle is going to be labeled with things that are explicitly in English to give you details on the details of that particular sake. But what I see so far, and I'm going to do a little translation here just to see if I pick out anything there. This one is a premium Junmai sake, and the way that our instructor, Reiko, articulated this to us is that Junmai sake, the term Junmai, is similar to how you would call certain whiskeys bourbons. Certain sakes are Junmai, like certain whiskeys are bourbon. There are specific requirements that you have to follow in order to label your body as Junmai. In this case, Junmai sakes are, I believe, 100% made from 100% rice. If you imagine mash bills in whiskey, if you equivalent that to things like grape varietals and wines in a particular mash, for the sakes, it's got to be 100% rice, and usually that specific Calros varietal of rice. And I believe that there's an implication of not adding specific additives and stuff to here, and there might be some specific things on maybe filtration or otherwise. You'll see some sakes that have the word ginjo or dai ginjo on them. Dai is a reference to the, like, I can't remember the right word for it, but it's the amount of rice left over from this sort of milling process to take the grains of rice and putting them into what I can only describe as like a rock tumbler that strips away the outer layers of the rice to reveal 50% of the rice left over, 40% of the rice left over, 60% otherwise. I think daiginjo, you need to use rice that is at a maximum of 60% remaining. Technically, the smaller percentages that you get, the more center of the rice, the more meat of the rice. I don't know the right terminology for this, but I thought that was kind of interesting in particular. What else did I see out there? Ryan saying sake and brandy cocktail. With these ones here, possibly. There are some floral notes that you'll get from sakes, which might pair well with some of those more floral brandies that I got. Official saying it's a fancy glass. He indeed brought out the fine American, the fine China. Oh, the fine American, I say. This sake in particular is kind of old. I don't exactly know what this originally tasted like, but a lot of the floral notes of this sake, if there ever was one to begin with, not very present anymore. If anything, it's got a flavor that reminds me a lot of what you get from other sakes. It's got that rice flavor, for lack of a better word. I don't know how else to describe it, at least at this point. And it's got some, I think it does have some vinegary notes to it too, because this is an old bottle of sake, and I definitely didn't preserve it as well as I had other bottles of sake. The floral notes are kind of missing on me, and there's a subtle savor that reminds me of mushrooms. Especially with the way that it ends. It's a little bit mushroomy. Now, on the side of this bottle, there are 3 phrases in Japanese, and I'm curious of what those phrases actually are, so I'm going to try to translate them real quick. Oh, actually, they have translations right on the side. Right on the side. Oh, can you work for me, please? Please? Yeah, I think there's translations right on the side. So apparently, the Japanese characters on the back of this translate to gluten-free, no additives, no preservatives, no sulfites. Which kind of makes sense. And I don't remember if I did my wine preserver on this, but because this is, technically you consider sake a rice wine, I treat it like my other wines. In the refrigerator, with inert gas. Jay saying, the sake has a rice flavor. POG, well, of course it does. And when I say that it has a rice flavor, Jay, what I mean is that there is a particular flavor note that I get from rice distillates and rice ferments that I can only describe as tasting like other rice distillates. Do I think it tastes like rice? Not really. But then again, the type of rice that I'm eating, which is typically like a jasmine rice or some other like common varietal that you have for cooking, is not the same type of rice that you use for sake production. And in particular, that's the Calrose varietal. Calrose or Calrose. Or it might be yeah, it's I think it's Calrose. I think it's the varietal of rice that they use. I've never had rice made like with this particular varietal of rice. So it's possible that sake tastes like the rice that went into it. But off the top of my head, I got no idea. I see Official out there saying, I don't know how you sip on alcohol and not flinch and getting all those flavor notes so calmly. It's because I've been doing it for a while. It takes practice. A lot of it, I hide a lot of my reactions, especially to some of these higher distillates over here. I do get a bite, but poker face, for lack of a better explanation. Ryan out there saying, Dai Ginjo means the rice has been polished down to 50% of its original size. Apparently, it's the most common premium sake that you'll find. Yeah, Ginjo 2, in particular, is the way that our instructor, Reiko, shout out to Reiko, by the way, described it to us is that Ginjo is a methodology of making sake. If you imagine, there's a whole explanation that they gave us about the process of making sake. To really dumb it down, you take rice, which is a starch, you put mold into it, koji mold, which turns some of that starch into sugar. Then you mix it up, you steam the rice and you mix it in a batch. And now you've got a slurry of rice, water, koji, sugars, and starches. Then you throw yeast in there. And by the way, the yeasts that they use in sake are also numbered in particular. They had a little issue of Sake Today that they were giving away for free at the Sake Museum. And in here they mentioned, I think, yeast number 7 or 17. And I want to say, I don't know where my notes are, but I took notes on the experience that I threw in, I think, one of the channels in the Discord. I think there's 2 main yeast strains that they use for typical sakes, and then one of the other sakes that they showed us, we didn't actually get to try it, used a different type of yeast. But essentially, now you've got a slurry of yeast and sugar and starch and rice and mold, and you mix that up together, let it ferment, and then you essentially strain it out. Essentially, and you have sake. It's a very dumbed down version of it. There's a bunch of different tools that they use, bunch of different apparatus. There's specific indicators that they use for time, for temperature, for moisture level as well that I am completely glossing over. But apparently, Ginjo, which you'll see on a lot of bottles of sake, is specifically referring to this more traditional methodology, which is the word that Reiko encouraged me to use, a specific methodology for making sake. And there are other ways of making sake that don't necessarily follow that same process with the same materials and the same tools and whatnot, and that is not considered a Ginjo sake. There are other types of sakes out there that are not Ginjo. One of the words that she used too specifically meant, I think it was like special or something like that, but that goes beyond the course of what I'm able to info dump on you, cause I just don't know. And I don't know where my notes are. I thought maybe it was inside of the sake book here too. But I don't have them here. I wish I knew where I put them. But I don't. I don't know where they are. Wolfie out there saying, favorite background informational info dump. Oh, I'm glad to hear it, dude. This is I get a little self-conscious about these particular streams only because I realize there's not much entertaining happening here. It's mostly just me info dumping on you. But if you're interested in stuff like that, let me know what interests you more, and then I can do more research on it and bring it to the stream. Because that's what I like to do. That's what I like to do. Official saying, is that book you read on the plane? Oh, yeah. Over here, too, I have Tropical Standard, which I've talked about a couple of different times in the show before. This is like a modern techniques to tiki drinks book. Kind of in the same realm as Liquid Intelligence. I did get through the rest of that book on the plane. I read, in particular, sections on prominent players in the tiki world, like Trader Vic and Don the Beachcomber, as well as, oh God, what else was in the back of this book? What else is in the back of this book? A bunch of... Oh, they had... I like that. There was a whole section in this book called Restoration, where they were trying to take recipes that had been lost to time is the wrong way to articulate it, but recipes that either don't have published ingredients lists or ratios lists, and tried to reconstruct them in the fashion that would have been very, very, very representative of the history behind the particular drink. It's a really good read. It goes into much more details than I could even fathom to give you guys on a stream, but I dig that. Ryan saying, cursory Google search says that Junmai Daiginjo is the highest quality sake. That's the thing. So, like, at least from what I remember from the sake museum trip, the highest qualities, like, there's a range of things that you can find even in the Junmai Daiginjo category. Daiginjo basically means, to your point, it has to be polished down to at least 50% of the original size. And at least according to what they're saying, the smaller size it is, basically the more rice that you actually have to use to make the sake, the more expensive that sake will be. So maybe it's the highest quality per se, but there's gotta be individual layers inside of that particular high quality standard, just based off of what I learned so far. Any case, I see Jax out there saying, I'm the West Coast Regional Manager for SGWS. I'd like to offer you a job. What is SGWS? Let me Google that. SGWS! West Coast Regional Manager, SGWS! Southern Glazers. Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits LLC is the largest wine and spirits distributor in the United States with operations in 44 states and Washington, D.C. Its portfolio is 45% wine, 55% spirits. It was the 10th largest private company in the United States in 2022, according to Wikipedia. For professional inquiries, please feel free to reach out to me via DM on any of the major social media platforms, including my personal Discord. Hashtag Cameron, CAMAEROXN on Discord. That's my name with an X in it, but the X is conveniently silent. All professional inquiries in my DMs, which are always welcome. Jax, thank you. Apparently, I seem to know what I'm talking about. And I pull it out of my ass. Oddly enough, Jax, I don't know if you saw the title of the stream or whatever, but I literally just got back from the West Coast. Like literally, literally earlier. Oh my gosh. Jay, like professional dick pics? No, we specifically said no dick pics in DMs, please. If you start taking advantage of my DMs, eventually I'll start blocking you. Wolfie saying, Cam, have you ever considered being an announcer? Possibly. Ryan, like, do a sponsorship deal? Maybe. I love free bottles of stuff. Please give me bottles of spirits to talk about on my show. I love it very much. Where do I find myself? Sake Museum. So the Sake Museum was, I can't even begin to give to you all the details I got from that. They showed us an informational video. They had a whole section of the place that had actual like actual tools that they would use for making sake, including this gigantic freaking like, for lack of a better term, it was like a gravity lever arm that they would use to kind of like a nut milk bag, but for rice. But instead of just one nut milk bag and my fist, it was like 20 different bags of rice and the force of gravity times like 10, dude, using counterbalanced weights. Wild. I will try my best tomorrow to open up a couple of threads in the Discord server in the community hub, specifically to give you the pictures once I've had a chance to proof them. And then, what else? There was another section that had, it was the cutest little thing. They had a diorama of a sake, I don't know what the right word for it is. Factory? Factory might not be the right, a sake brewery. They had places where they would do the fermentation, the inoculation, the aging, the mixing, the otherwise, and you would click little buttons on it. And when you click certain buttons for different parts of the sake making process, the buildings that are involved in that part of the process would light up. And you could kind of, in a way, follow the journey of the sake from rice grain to like finished bottled product, which I thought was super freaking cool, dude. It was really, really cool. We also got to sample a bunch of different types of sakes. In particular, I'm not going to do it justice by stating the types of sakes that we tried, but there are 4 different levels of sakes. There's the variety sake course, Daiginjo Junmai course, and the one-of-a-kind sake course. I did the second level, the Daiginjo Junmai, and Anna did the variety sake. And in particular, in total, we tried Shochiku by Rei Junmai Daiginjo, Shochiku by Organic Nama Unpasteurized Sake, Shochiku by or SCB Classic Junmai Sake, SCB Nigori Silky Mild Sake Unfiltered. Nigori is like the it's cloudy sake, essentially. And then whatever choice you want to of a Hana brand sake, Yuki sake, or plum sake. Anna tried the lychee, and we both really enjoyed it. They also gave us a sparkling version of the lychee, which we also really enjoyed, but I didn't quite catch the name of that one. In the Daiginjo Junmai course, there was the SCB SCB Ray, which was the first option from the other one. That was like a sparkling filtered sake that is of the Junmai Daiginjo style. There's the SCB Shiraka Begura Junmai Daiginjo, the SCB Junmai Daiginjo, which I think was also listed in the first one, the SCB Tokubetsu Junmai. Tokubetsu is the word that I was thinking of before, that is specifically not the Ginjo style. It is a special. I think Tokubetsu means like special or something like that. But that's one of the sakes that don't necessarily follow the traditional process of making sake, whatever details that entails. And then we tried the Shiraka Begura Tokubetsu Junmai, not the SCB Tokubetsu Junmai. And I wish I could remember. Some of those bottles were priced at anywhere between $15 to $120. And they were pretty cool. They were pretty cool. I'll probably share more details about the other sakes that they didn't wind up trying. There was one that they shared with us that used a yeast strain that is usually used in whiskey making. There was one bottle that instead of using yellow koji like most sake does, it used white koji, which is more used in shochu processing. And in addition to that too, like on the back side of the sake menu that they had, there was a shochu menu too, and they were like 25 different options, and I didn't recognize a single one of them, and it made me feel so small in the world of shochu. And it was actually very humbling from my perspective, because I thought I knew a lot about shochu, but I really don't. I think that was pretty cool. Official out there, I missed your messages earlier. RIP the announcer. I must go to the museum next time I go to California, to CA. Dude, it's cool. It's cool. I think to some people, you'd walk in there and you'd be like, this is kind of boring. Some people are going to walk into that museum and be like, this is kind of boring. They've got pieces of wood that are hanging on walls, very large info dumping posters and stuff. And the movie that they show you in the beginning looks like it walked straight out of a VHS machine, because it literally did. And it wasn't super super high energy, but it was incredibly informative and very down to earth, which personally I appreciated. Actually, when I was taking notes on the sakes that I was drinking, the instructor stopped to give me time to write, which I thought was very kind of her. She did not have to do that. But I was taking in as much of it that I possibly could. Again, I don't know where my notes are. We have an ad break starting in a hot minute. I'm gonna try to see if I can find my notes. Oh, actually, I might have a picture of them. Wait, I think I took a picture of them. Hold up a second. Actually, don't hold us up a second. Let the ads go, so I can do more trips like this. Did I take a picture of my note sheet? No, I did not. No, I didn't. It's not on my phone. I thought I did. Oh, maybe it's on Discord. I think it is on Discord. I think it is. Yeah! I put it in the members channel. I'm putting it in the members channel. There's my notes. Oh. There we go. I found my notes. I see that we have an ad running right now. I feel you there. Okay. Let me put it down. Let me go see if I can find the piece of paper, and I'll come back and we'll close the chapter on sake. That was really cool. And let me also see if I missed anything along the way. I honestly don't. Actually, I do have a lot to talk about in Disneyland, because we went to a couple of cocktail bars. The cocktail bars were really good, dude. They were really cool. Hiking, the market, airport, beer, Airbnb, Berkeley, sake museum. Oh, we had sushi. Sushi was great. We like sushi. Flight to Orange County. Yeah. Next stop is SoCal, Orange County. My notes are over here. I don't see him, chat. I don't know where my notes are, but I do have a picture of them. I'll share some very brief details on that. Wolfie being like, note hunter. Let's find the note. At least I found a picture of it on my phone, at least. I'm happy. I'm happy for that. I'm happy for that. For anybody joining us a little bit later here on the YouTube side, my eyes are beginning to hurt because I've been up since my internal clock 6 a.m. this morning, and it is now almost 11 p.m. 3 hours ahead. So I'm not going to be going for too much longer. So long as I have the steam to talk about the drink experience, I will continue. It was a lot of fun, y'all. We packed a lot. It was specifically Anna's handiwork to be able to get us to do all of these different things. I wouldn't have been able to do any of this stuff if not for Anna's handiwork in determining our itinerary and the both of us budgeting over the last 6 months to be able to take the trip. It was really, really cool. And we managed to fit in Disneyland and a couple of cocktail experiences. That was pretty cool. I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about that. Also, I'm going to smell the fenugreek because it's a spice that I don't have at the bar with an X. This apparently makes people lactate, by the way. Fenugreek. What does it taste like? What does fenugreek even taste like? Ooh! It tastes like celery. That tastes like celery, dude. Welcome back from the ads, y'all. You didn't miss much. I just decided to take a bite of fenugreek. And fenugreek, to me, tastes like celery. Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Glorious! Welcome back. I see you out there. The heck is fenugreek? Fenugreek is a clover-like herb. It's used for cooking, apparently. Very cool. The seeds have a maple syrup-like taste and smell. Do they really? I can see that. Maple syrup-like taste and smell? Smell? I can see that. To me, if anything, that is like celery maple syrup. Not specifically maple syrup, but I can see that. I can see that. Official saying, if I remember correctly, we all have lactate glands, mammary glands, but they are inactive on male people and can't produce the milk. That's why we both have titties. It's true, I do. Can they lactate, though? Let's see what happens after I eat a handful of this fenugreek. Excuse me, I just swallowed a piece of fenugreek the wrong way. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Excuse me. Jay says you're supposed to toast it, to be honest, if it even isn't toasted. I definitely did not toast these. Maybe that's what I'm missing. Gloria's saying, missed the Disneyland stream. How was it? So on the Twitch side, it was an absolute clusterfuck. But on the YouTube side, things went relatively smoothly. I'll tell you more about it. Admittedly, the only thing we did was we walked around Disneyland Resort, got into the Pixar Hotel, and then I took y'all to Trader Sam's. And we had a conversation with the bartender and a drink. And then I turned it off. And then there was more stuff that happened after the stream. And I'll fill you in on those as we proceed a little bit farther. So I just finished telling you guys about the sake museum that I went to. I found my notes that I took on the sakes that I had. And evidently, it's just a random collection of notes. But I see a couple things on here about the milled rice percentages. The specific methodology of the Ginjo style. Dai Ginjo versus Ginjo style. Ginjo style sakes must use that 60% milling ratio or lower. Dai Ginjo must be 50%, echoing what Ryan was informing us earlier from a Google search. There are some other keywords that I have in here, or some other little factoids that yellow koji is typically used for sake, white koji usually for shochu. White koji has more acidic flavors to it, which is not welcome, typically, in sake production, but more welcome in shochu production. Tokubetsu means special, quite literally, usually using a 60% mill ratio for specifically cal roast rice. specific varietal of rice grain. And apparently another word that I have here, which I wrote down as miyamizu, is kind of like specifically, miyamizu is apparently a term that refers to in particular like water from a specific region or water with a particular like mineral content, if I'm quoting that correctly. And it reminded me of Burtonization, or the idea that if you use water from a particular location for your wine, it will affect the flavor of the wine, which it inevitably does, by the way. It's called terroir. Well, it's a part of the terroir of the area. Official out there making comments about my milk in the infinity bottle. Possibly, if I can figure out how that works. I'm not making any guarantees. And if I did, I'd sell it for charity. Random Cosmo popping in, slam soured on the counter. I'm late, but I brought the bread. Let's just say that your bread... Can you make bread with fenugreek? Because if you can, I just bought half a pound of it, and I'm only planning on using some of it. Welcome in, Cosmo. Glorious out there saying, you didn't cosplay as a Kingdom Hearts character when you went there? Guess Disney wouldn't want people to cosplay. People might think you're staff. Well, actually, there's a thing to be said, and Disney Queen can expand more on this at another time. She's asleep right now. But you apparently can't dress up as specific characters, like certain characters in Disney World, because they don't want you to take the attention away from the face characters that are actually walking about. But there's a whole subculture called Disney bounding, where people will dress up in a way inspired by specific characters. And it's a whole nother thing. I don't have enough Keyblade drip to be able to do Kingdom Hearts, but there was one guy in line who had Kingdom Hearts pins and a Keyblade keychain. He had Kingdom Hearts pants on, he had a Kingdom Hearts jacket on, a Kingdom Hearts like hat on. Oh my god, dude. It was super cool. I didn't get a picture with the guy, but I really should have. And I should have asked them first, naturally. But now, I did not. Cosmo saying you can learn how to make fenugreek bread. And Jay saying too, fenugreek is very potent. Half a pound is a lot. I usually dust it on my bread, not folded in. I learn something new from you guys every single day. So at this point, I told you all about my time in wine country. We stopped at a little section of Napa Valley Distillery where brought a couple of brandies back with me. One of those brandies, specifically this geranium brandy, was the newest addition to the infinity bottle, thanks to Brad, who gave me the option between one of these three brandies that I picked up. After that, we wound up going to Berkeley a little bit farther. I want to say it was more south or more north or in some different direction to Sonoma County and Napa Valley, where we went to a sake museum specifically run by Takara Sake, where we tried a number of different sakes under the brand name, if I'm using the term correctly, Sho Chiku Bai. Spelled like that. Sho Chikubai. Or SCB, for short. At this point, we wound up hopping on another plane, and we shipped ourselves off to Orange County, Anaheim, California, where the Disney arm of our trip basically begins. I don't have much to say aside from the cocktails that we tried, and also some of the details of our Disney trip, which ended literally yesterday, so it's very much fresh in my mind. Other than that, I'm pretty much getting towards the end of the stream. I am admittedly kind of tired because I have been up since 6 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, which was 9 o'clock a.m. Philly time, but that was after 4 or 5 days on the West Coast, so my body's clock has adjusted ever so mildly. So I am a bit tired right now, so I'm not going to pour any more drink for myself. If anything, I'm just going to drink a lot more water to make sure that my body's hydrated from the trip. But Disneyland was fun. Disneyland was really, really fun. We basically we flew into Orange County, and when we got there, we dropped off our bags at the hotel. We immediately walked right over to downtown Disney, where we stopped at a couple different locations. The first place that we stopped at was a place called Dai Ting Fung, or DTF, and it was essentially I still can't remember whether it was a Chinese restaurant or Japanese restaurant, but now I gotta look it up. It was an Asian restaurant where I had a cocktail, and we had they were known for their soup dumplings. The soup dumplings are really, really tasty. In particular, the dessert that we had was like a lava cake inside of a dumpling, dipped into, they had a sauce. What was the sauce? I don't remember what the sauce was, but it was like a lava cake dumpling, and it was just, mwah! Oh, it was so tasty, dude. My younger brother, who is a connoisseur of lava cakes, I was like to him, I was like, dude, if you ever find yourself at this place, you gotta try this. You've gotta try it. You gotta try it. Dai Ting Fung is a Taiwanese restaurant, which makes even more sense. Which makes even more sense because of the cocktail that I wound up having there. Oh my gosh. I see Cosmo out there saying, I'll call my father if you ever go on a Backroads Kentucky bourbon tour. Dude, are you in Kentucky? It bears repeating that when I do travel around, I try to make it known where I am if I want to be known where I am, just in case we've got some folks in the area. So I tried to make it relatively public that was in the Bay Area, and we had some folks that we tried to meet up with. It didn't wind up working out. Nothing wound up working out, but I got a couple of people that I want to reach out to if I find myself somewhere around Kentucky bourbon country again. I see Wolfie out there too, being like, sleepy time for camp. Yeah, dude, I'm tired. I didn't put on my outfit or anything. I didn't. So we went to Dai Ting Fung, which is a Taiwanese restaurant, as I'm now learning for the first time. I probably should have put the pieces together when I was there. We had their soup dumplings. We had their lava cake dumpling. I don't remember what it was called, but I had an old fashioned there, and Anna had a lychee martini. The old fashioned was really unique. And the reason why I got it, as opposed to the other cocktails on the menu, which seemed to be a little bit more kind of sweet forward, was that it used a single malt Taiwanese whiskey and an oolong tea syrup, as well as some orange bitters, and I think, and a Luxardo maraschino cherry on it. But I had never had Taiwanese whiskey before. It caught my eye because the Taiwanese whiskey is in the single malt style, meaning I don't know exactly what the Taiwanese laws are, but I imagine it uses malted barley, reminiscent of the techniques that we use in Scotland, but also in Japan as well. And the oolong syrup, I really, really wanted to try because I've never had an old-fashioned, first of all, with Taiwanese whiskey, second of all, with the sweetener agent coming from a Thai tea, or an oolong-infused tea. So my thoughts on that basically was the whiskey character was very, very mild. I didn't get much of a smoky note from it. It was very appreciable and on the more like kind of subtle sides of old fashions that I've had, not very forward on specifically whiskey flavor, but the oolong tea syrup, I didn't ask specifically how they made it, but I found that it was incredibly, the oolong character was incredibly floral and very, 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 very dry. It was interesting that when I took a sip of this old fashioned, the first thought that I had was, wow, that tastes really heavily like oversteeped tea. But it got me thinking immediately. My second thought, aside from my original impressions of the drink and correspondingly finishing the darn thing, was that particular old fashioned could be, I don't want to say improved upon, but it could be made differently. It could be leveled up in a way or leveled side in a way if it was milk washed and clarified. Because if you take a cocktail and you wash it, when you clarify it with milk, the whey proteins in the milk will serve as a means to kind of round out the sort of sharper notes that you get from tannins, which are found in things like grape peels or certain fruits or oversteeped tea in particular. And as soon as I got it, I was like, dude, this would be perfect as a clarified cocktail. But I wasn't about to ask our bartender. I think his name was... Cannot remember what our bartender's name was off the top of my head. Oh my gosh. Might have been Riley or something like that. I think it was Riley. I think Riley was our bartender in particular at that point in time. I wasn't about to say, hey, can you get me some lemon juice and whole milk? Not in the restaurant. Not there. So I didn't wind up doing that, but it was good. Jay's like, no way, dude. Nope, there wasn't any way in that one. No way. Anyways, I'm seeing Cosmo out there saying that you're a Texan. Your Pop's family is in your Pop's family is in the Kentucky, Indiana area. I see out there. There are specific bourbons reserved for specific groups. I'm sure my old man could endorse you getting a bottle. Oh, you mean like the specific selections and stuff, like the limited releases and stuff? I personally, I don't think that I would be able to get the most mileage out of a bottle like that, but it would be an honor, my guy. It would be an honor. Wolfie out there saying, too, the headphones at least survive without you. Oh, these guys? Yeah, dude, these guys. So let's see. That's where we went to dinner, specifically in downtown Disney. There's a bunch of restaurants there. We didn't happen to go to a lot of them, but we did go to that one. Right after we were done at Dai Ting Fung, I started a live stream on my phone, simulcasting to YouTube and Twitch like I'm doing right now, but specifically from my cell phone. Apparently, there were a lot of connection issues, and I wanted to apologize once again for the dozen pings that the folks in the Discord server received from the spotty internet connection. You mostly got to see everything that we did there. We went to the Pixar Hotel and kind of looked around at the Luxo Ball, as well as some really cool frames from a show that is on Disney Plus right now called Win or Lose, which is a very unique kind of animated show. I think it's Pixar, I imagine, because it was in the Pixar Resort. And we went to Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar, where I had an Ango Lotta, not an Ango Colada, and Anna had a, I think it was called a like a piranha something drink or whatever. It was nice and like sweet and apricot-y, and Anna kind of liked it. My Ango Colada was basically a pina colada, hold a lot of the pina, and add in Angostura bitters instead, and I really, really did like it. And then we wind up closing our tab out there, taking a bunch of coasters along with us, and moving on after the live stream was over to a different bar where I had a completely different kind of cocktail experience, which I thought was my highlight of the evening. Unfortunately, I didn't take you guys to the highlight of that evening, which was the Broken Spell Lounge right across the pool over in the Disneyland Resort Hotel. Oh, no, specifically the Convention Center. Which is right next to the Disneyland Resort Hotel. It was really, really cool. And I'll tell you all about those particular cocktails in a hot second. Cosmo out there saying something similar, I think, 1% groups. Yeah. There's like, I know off the top of my head, and it doesn't just exist in the whiskey world, and exists in a bunch of different areas of the world for not even just spirit stuff too. It's bottles that are reserved for very, very specific releases, or for the kind of stuff that you have to sit outside the liquor store for a while to wait to go inside to have the opportunity to even purchase it. Or you have to wait in lotteries in order to go in there to have the opportunity to purchase. That's the type of stuff that I imagine you're talking about. Official saying, did you get the Krakatoa volcano drink? I did not. But what I will mention is that in particular at Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar, a lot of the drinks on the menu will cause the bartenders or the people at the bar to react in a certain way. If you ordered the Krakatoa drink, the decals on the wall, which seem to be overlooking a volcano, will erupt and they will scream Krakatoa and either encourage you to run away or to scream or do something else. There's a bunch of other things on the menu. I think the last time I went to Trader Sam's, there's like a pearl diver type drink on the menu where you actually get a clam and you actually get a pearl that you can keep. A lot of the drinks are served in particular, very specific tiki mugs that you can purchase correspondingly, buy a souvenir from and take home with you. The first time that I went to Trader Sam's, actually, I got, I don't remember what drink came in this, but I got a little mug from Trader Sam's in Grog Grotto, Trader Sam's Grog Grotto in Disney World in Florida, which I thought was really cool. Let's see, what else did I miss out there? Wolfie saying the most money made from Twitch or not at all. Most money made from Twitch? It depends on the month. TikTok's kind of up there right now, if I'm being honest. I see Drew Wendar popping in again, being like, hi, weirdo. Bailey's Irish Cream and coffee is the perfect thing to start your night. Dude, in coffee to start your night, dude? Caffeination at this hour? Different strokes, my guy. Different strokes. But I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it indeed. Caledonian saying, Cam, I'll be lurking for a while. Got to do some homework to see if the teacher will be there when you go tomorrow. No worries, my guy. I appreciate you calling yourself out for it. And I see Deer Hunter popping in on the YouTube side. Hello, back in your direction. And I see Official saying, you didn't end up stealing those glasses? No, we didn't. Oddly enough, during the live stream, I was vibing with you guys about potentially stealing the glasses. And at one point, our bartender, the bartenders, by the way, are absolute personalities at Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar and even Trader Sam's in Disney World as well, Grog Grotto. He made eye contact with me and was like, and he pointed up at the security cameras that were directly above the bar. It was directly above the bar. I thought that was hilarious, dude. And there was, I can't do it justice, but there were a number of moments on that live stream where I'd be interacting with chat, you would be interacting with me, and the bartender would interact with me as if I was talking to him or as if he was responding to you guys, which I thought was really funny. And I had the opportunity to talk with him after the live stream was over, and he was like, what were you, like a Twitch streamer or something like that? I'm old, I don't know what I'm talking about. I was like, no, I am. And we chatted a little bit. I told him that I'm a cocktail mixologist from out here in Philadelphia. Haven't had any experience behind the bar yet, but he's like, you seem to know what you were talking about, which I felt incredibly proud of myself in that moment because apparently people think I know what I'm talking about, so I tried my best. We closed our tab there, and we made our way across the pool to the Broken Spell Lounge, which was really, really, really cool. Really, really cool indeed. Cosmo, I saw your DM out there. I'm gonna check it out after the stream. I appreciate it. Drew saying that apparently coffee makes you tired, which is not the way that it works for me, but different strokes, you know? Wolfie saying coffee is forever at any time, day, or night. For me, I have trouble sleeping when I drink coffee at night, so I typically just don't wind up doing that. And then Caledonian saying too, last thing, that worker must be a streamer secretly. Oh, maybe. Well, actually, no. I mean, what he shared with me was that he's been working at bars for 20 years. So he was like, I don't have time for stuff like that. So I don't know. Maybe he just kind of knows. But the last cocktail place that we wind up going, or no, there was technically two. There were two more things. Two more things. My gosh, I'm really feeling my jet lag hit me right now. But I got two more things that I really, really want to share with you guys before I close the cameras and call it a night. We went to the Broken Spell Lounge in the convention center in downtown Disney. And this place was really, really cool. I wound up having 3 drinks when I was there. I will send a picture. I sent a picture of the cocktail menu to the drinks channel in the Discord server. It was a lot of infusions. Anna specifically wanted to go to this bar because of how many infusion type beverages were on the menu, and they had anything from specific spirits to a mushroom infusion where they infused Woodford Reserve bourbon with, I want to say it was like Amanita or Morel mushroom or something like that. Unfortunately, they were out of the mushroom infused Woodford Reserve, so I couldn't get that cocktail in particular. But the 3 drinks that we had on that menu were the Fairy Flight, which were 3 different potion beverages, all containing some combination of coconut, pineapple, blueberry, otherwise. I'm secretly going to the drinks channel so I can look at the menu. They were really, really pretty looking. Yeah. And they were themed to each one of the different fairies from Cinderella. But they had any combination of vanilla bean infused vodka, banana liqueur, pineapple juice, lemon juice, honey, coconut syrup, and edible glitter. Each one a different color. There was a blue one, there was a red one, and there was a green one. Anna's least favorite was the red one. She said that it had a very bitter taste to it, which I found was a little bit too sweet for me, so I didn't wind up liking any particular one of them. Her favorite, I think, was the blue one, because that had a most prominent note of cotton candy to her. And after I wound up moving from my drink number 1 to drink number 2, she asked our bartender, Rico, who was not Riku, he's not a Kingdom Hearts character. Rico was a joy to talk to, my guy, and he answered every single one of my questions that I had in regards to specifically what plums they were using for their plum infusions, what techniques their head mixologist is working on upcoming drinks and whatnot. It was great. We tried to go back to see them again the day afterwards, but we were too tired after our Disneyland day, and I didn't want another cocktail in my system before we had to wake up 4 hours later for a flight in the morning. But actually, she asked Rico to bring over a separate glass just so she could do a little bit of mixology of her own, taking the individual potions and mixing them together in different ways to see if she can find an optimal combination. If there was an optimal combination, I didn't ask her about it. So you have to remind me to ask her the next time that she pops behind the bar at some point. My drinks, though, I think were pretty cool, and I gotta remind myself which ones I got. Let's see. Drew saying that the cream liqueur with the coffee is kind of like a hot chocolate, but a little bit less festive. Wolfie saying sports messed up your ability to sleep anyways, which can happen to some of the most athletic of all of us. Drew saying, too, that you made mint chocolate ice cream cake that was served with 2 scoops of Death by Chocolate ice cream at a birthday party today. Death by Chocolate, to my knowledge, is... No, Death by Chocolate. No, Death by Chocolate. Sorry, I was thinking Death Wish coffee for some reason. I somehow got my wires crossed between the coffee and the ice cream. Oh, dude, that sounds tasty. Mint chocolate ice cream cake with 2 scoops of Death by Chocolate on top. Oh, man, dude. I'm not big into sweets, but when we were in Disney, when we were in downtown Disney, I decided to cave, and we bought this peanut butter square, which was like, oh, it had the most beautiful whipped peanut butter texture covered in chocolate. And you saying that to me, you talking about your cake, made me remember that peanut butter square, dude. That was really freaking tasty. No peanut butter cocktails, unfortunately. No peanut butter cocktails. Official out there saying, last time I was in Disney, I was way too underage. Now that I'm of drinking age, I want to try all of those drinks. It sounds like that not only the drinks were great, but the people and places are great too. Dude, and I might have, when I gave you guys the download a few, like almost a year ago, when Anna and I went on our honeymoon, if there's one thing that I think Disney does super duper well over other hotels and parks that I've been to, is they're kind, dude. They're kind for the most part. They are excellent conversationalists, and they really make the experience magical because it doesn't just feel like people are doing their job. It feels like people are liking what they do, even if they're faking it. It makes me feel like I feel so important when I'm in a Disney hospitality experience. It makes me want to come back, especially in these more intimate environments, like in a cocktail lounge. Those are really, really cool, dude. This is really cool. I see Cosmo out there saying that you made some cornbread. Oh, good stuff out there. Drew with the night, dude. If it's making you sleep, my guy, it is serving you better than the coffee served me earlier today on my flights. So let's see. At Broken Spell Lounge, when I had the chance to talk to the bartender too, Rico was telling me about the guy who's in charge of the cocktail program. We did wind up asking him what is the theme of this cocktail lounge, because when you walk in, it's got this dark green aesthetic. You see green lights. It gives heavy Sleeping Beauty vibes, like Maleficent with the green fire dragon, who we defeated multiple times in our Kingdom Hearts playthrough. But essentially, he was saying that the idea of this cocktail lounge is that you are in Sleeping Beauty's enchanted forest, and these drinks are inspired by the things that you might find while roaming through the forest, whether it be a mushroom that is growing off of a tree, an herb that you picked up from a local pond, or even local wildlife. My bartender, told me to keep this in under wraps. So I'm going to specifically ask you to keep this under wraps. This doesn't leave this stream. But you would think that if you're walking around an enchanted forest, that there's enchanted forest wildlife. And wildlife often has meat on their bones. And I'm not saying that they're working on anything in particular that would involve an animal. But you and I have talked a lot about clarifications on the stream, which utilizes milk proteins. You and I have talked a lot about fat washers on the stream, which can use any number of fats, whether it came from something that was live or something that was plant-based. And it's possible that one of the creatures roaming in this enchanted forest may or may not be one that walks, and one that used to be alive, and one whose parts might be involved in a future-inspired cocktail. You didn't hear it from me, but the fact that I was able to give a little bit of my mixological stuff, get a little bit of their mixological stuff, they gave me a little bit that was shared in confidence, was super duper duper cool. And it was just wild to hear the bartender articulate to us about the stuff of the kind of like mad scientist type energy and passion that the head head mixologist, or whatever you call him, the head of the bar program has towards these wild drinks. Our bartender Riku was recollecting that he's walked into the room that the mixologist works out of every once in a while, and you've got any number of infusions going at the same time with machinery and ingredients that you've literally never heard of. And I was like, bro, that's what I do at my home bar. Except I have a significantly smaller budget than Disney. And he was like, dude, that's so cool. So it was basically inspired cocktail atmosphere, craft cocktail level of like, mad scientist energy, and I absolutely lived it. The first cocktail that I got when I was there was the Inca Orchard, which was made with mezcal, chicha morada, orgeat, and cinnamon plum syrup, and apricot liqueur. That one was basically a mezcal margarita, but I didn't realize it was going to be a margarita based off of the ingredients that I read on there. I'll repeat them for you. It is mezcal, chicha morada, orgeat, or almond syrup, cinnamon plum syrup, and apricot liqueur. And those particular ingredients don't really strike me as being margarita-like. Nothing in there aside from the apricot is giving similar notes to, let's say, an orange liqueur, for example. The mezcal gives a similar note to tequila, which you would find in a lot of margarita recipes. But, like, where's the lime in there? And if you were, I don't know if any of you are around for way back before I rebranded to do specifically video games type content. I was doing a series of focused episodes of cocktail ingredients or specific themes for cocktails. And one of the themes that I showed you all was corn in your cocktails, whether that be corn whiskey or corn milk, where you take quite literally sweet corn and you grind it up into, you basically blend it into a juice. But there was one type of beverage, I believe that is Peruvian in origin, called chicha morada, which basically means purple corn drink, where you take purple corn, dried purple corn cobs, and you basically make a tea out of them, very similar to the appearance of a hibiscus tea, and you mix it with other stuff, spices, and usually enough lime juice to give the chicha morada a sort of tart, acidic kick to it. So when I took a first sip of this, and by the way, the fact that it was an Inca orchid, it was garnished with an edible orchid. It was a beautiful cocktail. But when I sipped it, I was like, this gives me huge margarita vibes. Why? And when I looked back at the menu and I saw the chicha morada, the light bulb went off on my head of nostalgia, being like, oh, I've had chicha morada before. That's why this tastes the way that it does. And it all just clicked for me there. It was a really tasty cocktail, despite not being something that I necessarily was like prepared for. And the second cocktail I had was something that I was even less prepared for, taking that level of excitement that I had of the cocktail craft and just like brought it up another level, dude. Another level completely. I know I just glanced over a bunch of these chats here. I want to make sure I acknowledge where the peoples are at. Oh, man. Official being like, funny how corporations might be really bad, but like the people in it are great. Dude, you know what? Disney's a brand, and people have grown up with this brand, and it makes you kind of want to give back to it in a way, you know? Official being like necromancy drinks. Hell yeah, we love that kind of stuff. Customer service, to Wolfie's point, is both the best thing and the most stressful it can be, you know? This is why we got to make sure that the people who work in the service industry are like, you know, well paid and well taken care of, at least in my opinion. Cosmo out there saying, I'm tempted to commission Renzo to make tailored drinks for each of the regions of your D&D world. Dude, that's so cool! Pay him! Pay your local mixologist. Be my humble request. Cosmo saying too, Cam, have you ever had a shitty time shot? I have not. What's the recipe? I will not be doing it tonight. I was thinking about maybe doing some cocktail requests along the way, but admittedly, the headache is getting, the mental fog is getting more and more intense by the moment. So I'm going to wind up going to sleep after this. Should also probably get some food in my stomach. The only meal that I had today was a sandwich, from Earl of Sandwich, right when we flew into Philadelphia. And that happened about 4 hours ago. So I'm getting hungry. Cosmo saying the worst thing that you can think of. The shitty time shot is the worst thing that I can think of? I imagine it's got actual fecal matter in it. That's what I imagine. So the last cocktail that I got at Broken Spell Lounge, among the other conversations that I had with the bartender, the info that just before I even get into this one, dude, just going down the list of interesting ingredients on this list of specialty cocktails. Again, the picture is in the Discord server. I'm gonna do a whole thread on the adventure I had so far, giving a sort of visual representation of what we did on our trip. But we got ingredients in here sporting things like mushroom-infused Woodford Reserve. We had, I don't see it on the menu, but supposedly the Secret Cottage cocktail uses plum liqueur and Campari, but it's specifically a plum-infused Campari, and it's the same plum that they would use in Japanese plum wine, specifically in umeshu type spirits. They had a very specific aquavit, which I would come to find does not taste like the aquavit that I currently have here at the bar with an X. You had the chicha morada in there as an ingredient. The spiced apple martini used spice beet as an ingredient, which I guess means like spiced beet juice, but I didn't get the chance to try that one. You had specifically prickly pear gin by Condessa, which is a type of, hello there. Goodbye there. Goodbye there. We had a Condessa prickly pear gin, which is a specific type of gin that is pre-infused from Condessa, and they took the infused gin and further infused it with cucumber and mint. It was either cucumber in mint or cucumber mint. I don't know if cucumber mint is a specific type of mint. Cucumber mint? Is that a thing? No, not cucumber mint water. Cucumber mint. Is cucumber mint a thing? No, it was cucumber and mint. So they took the one infusion and they just doubled it up, which I thought was super cool. Welcome in, Mr. Krabs. Why does YouTube have a leaderboard? They're trying to gimmick you guys into chatting more. It was news to me. It was news to me, but I understand how it works now. Let's see. Cosmo saying, you mix the worst thing that you can out of the house supply. Oh, that's the shitty time shot? I don't like the ambiguity of that recipe, my guy. Just a personal criticism. Wolfie out there saying, too, melatonin, drugs. I don't know, dude. Melatonin in a cocktail? Don't mix your drugs together. Don't mix your drugs together. There's also, to add on to Official's weird point, there's a separate leaderboard for both the vertical and the horizontal chats. I think it's kind of interesting. Crabs out there, a member for 3 months. We appreciate the contributions to the bar with an X. I have such a headache right now, y'all. I'm almost done. I am almost done here. The last cocktail that I had, I ordered the Amanita Mascara. which was the mushroom-infused Woodford Reserve combined with walnut bitters, rosemary, thyme, like the herb, brown sugar simple syrup, garnished with a marinated portobello cap. They were out of the mushroom-infused bourbon. So instead, I asked him, because this was at the far end of our conversation. This is after we had become cordial with each other. This is after the long conversation of, what kind of plum do you use in your plum syrup? And what kind of plum do you use in the Campari? And what kind of stuff are you guys working on behind the scenes that may or may not involve fat washing? I was like, what do you think I should have next? Which I have these mixed feelings about throwing an ambiguous question at a bartender, because if the bartender has if you in my opinion, if you walk up to a bartender and they're like, what do you want? And you say bartender's choice, and they have nothing to go on, you're kind of setting them you're potentially setting them up for failure. Because if I look at you and I profile you as somebody who probably likes a sweet drink and I serve you a cosmopolitan, but actually you're more into short drinks like old fashions, you've set me up for failure. Like, I don't know. What am I supposed to work on? Which is even why when people pop out of the stream and they're like, yo, I'm new to drinking. What should I have? Like, I don't know, man. Tell me something about your self first. If you pop into my stream and the first question is, yo, I'm new to drinking. What should I drink? I have nothing to go off of. So I was anxious asking this question, but I felt like we had a repertoire such that the question wouldn't be intimidating or otherwise. And Rico was great, dude. Rico was excellent. Specifically, Rico at the Broken Spell Lounge. I freaking loved that guy. So he told me that I should get the Aquavit Sour, which I thought was going to be your typical run-of-the-mill. You got Aquavits, which is essentially a caraway spiced vodka from it's, I think, Sweden sometimes. It's a Scandinavian region. And I thought it was going to be a little bit of lemon juice, maybe an egg white, and some simple syrup. But the Aquavit Sour on this menu is Lini Aquavit, Kummel fennel liqueur, house-made blueberry syrup, grenadine, lime juice, and bitters. And I was not prepared for the type of glass that came to my table, and I was absolutely blown away by it. I see, let's see, Crab saying, how you be number one, no Santa game. No, not tonight. I just got back from California and I'm jet lagged, so no game tonight. Cosmo saying, Cam, I have a question. Are we ever gonna get the construction worker special? Keep making cocktail requests. I just got a massive pain in my head for a second there when you asked that. It's got nothing to do with you, Cosmo, but I thought for a moment, I thought too hard. Wolfie saying, Cam, should I try to be number one on both YouTube and both leaderboards? That's up to you, my guy. Live your best life. Wub saying, I'm into spicy and sour, and if it's in the morning, I want salty. That's a solid flavor note. There we go, dude. There we go. That's something to work on, you know? Official saying, one of my grievances with Valhalla. Peeps walk in and say, give me something, and you have nothing to go on. Nothing to go on. Now that's totally fair. Wolfie saying, I'm sorry, Cam. That's what I did. Dude, it's okay. Crab's asking if I have a Switch too. I do not. This Aquavit Sour, I will tell you about. I sipped this and immediately was taken back to a drink that I tried at one of the bars here in Philadelphia. It's that Swedish-inspired bar that I've told you guys a bunch about. The mocktail tastes like pickles, but like sweet pickles. It's a very appreciable dill-forward highball-style beverage, and when I sipped the Aquavit Sour, I was not prepared for how intensely pickly it was. But it was pickly like a sweet pickle. It was tasty. It was well-rounded. It was spirit-forward. It was balanced on sweet and sour. I was like, this is the best pickly drink I've ever had. Far outmatching anything we've made with the Infinity Bottle at this point, with flavors reminiscent of dill or pickles to speak of. It was so tasty, dude. And it reminded me about, specifically, it taught me two main things. One was that Aquavits can have wildly different spices that they use, wildly different flavor profiles. Just because I'm thinking of it right now, I have this bottle of Aquavit sitting on my desk. It's a part of the bar stock. Anybody can request its use in any cocktail at literally any time. This was the easiest accessible Aquavit for a relatively affordable price point that I could get here in Philadelphia. I smell this, and I swear it smells like Sprite. Like Sprite without most of the carbonation. It gives me heavy, heavy lemon lime vibes with like a hint of dill on the nose just from sniffing the bottle. And on the palate, again, I'm putting the alcohol away for the night because I got a splitting headache. But on the palate, it is very, very light on flavor. And despite being mostly flavored with caraway seeds, which to me give me flavors reminiscent of rye bread, it's very, very light on flavor. But evidently, this other brand of aquavit, Linny specifically, had a completely different flavor profile. And the Kummel fennel liqueur, Kummel, or K-U with an umlaut or otherwise M-M-E-L, is another category of liqueurs prominently featuring spices like... I don't know, man. I put details in the Discord server, but I'm gonna look it up again because I freaking love this stuff. Kummel herbal liqueur, particularly popular in Central Europe, known for its distinctive caraway and cumin flavors. It's a sweet, colorless spirit that can be enjoyed neat, chilled, or in cocktails. The name Kummel comes from the German word Krümel, which means caraway. It was super cool, dude. I had not had a cocktail. That cocktail was a mind-opening cocktail, dude. It was really cool. It was really, really cool. And I drank the whole thing down. And I got back to our hotel that night, and I was so satisfied. I was so satisfied. And there's one other thing I gotta tell you guys. It was specifically in a little bit of details of Disneyland. I'm gonna gloss over most of those details. You can ask me on Monday, but I don't want to forget to tell you about Oga's Cantina, which was the last main drinky drink thing that we wound up doing. Anyways. Cosmo saying, I like drinks that punch you in the mouth, then have contrasting secondary flavors. There we go. And Cosmo asking, McDonald's Sprite? Yeah. It's giving me heavy Sprite vibes. Like, specifically McDonald's Sprite? I haven't had Sprite at McDonald's in a while. So, like, maybe. But it does give me the vibes of Sprites that I've had that are, like, kind of flat in a way. It's interesting. It's like lemon lime on the nose. It is very, very intriguing. Oh, my gosh. Last thing, y'all. Last thing. I promise y'all. I've been streaming for almost 4 hours, dude. I was not planning on streaming. I was not expecting to talk about my trip to California for 4 hours. Oh, my gosh, dude. The last thing that we did, we went to Oga's Cantina in Disneyland, specifically in Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars area of the park. Honestly, we've been to the one in Disney World before. It looks aesthetically pleasing on the inside. It's very, very cool. It's got a lot of animatronics, or it's got a lot of like electronic type stuff. It's that like back alley, like Rogue Warehouse style vibe with the whole Star Wars aesthetic, which I can't articulate too well on. I got 2 beverages. The cocktail list, when I looked at it, just seemed like it was very gimmicky. One drink had layers. One drink was color changing. It used butterfly pea flower. One drink, the one that Anna wound up getting, the Fuzzy Tauntaun, was basically a riff on a Fuzzy Navel, a very peach-forward drink, but it had Buzz Button foam, which I've mentioned on the show a couple of times before. Buzz Buttons have a sort of tinkling sensation on the palate, and a prominent liqueur that utilizes it, Tingala, apparently, like, numbs your whole esophagus. And admittedly, the foam did have a mild numbing effect, but it didn't really have much of a flavor to it. And Anna drank the whole thing down, and she didn't find much of a buzzing effect like at all. And to me, the numbing effect was just kind of like underwhelming for their drink that was very sweet and very peach forward. And other than that, just kind of basic, at least from my particular flavor perspective. They had other cocktails too, but they were mostly like very, very bright in color and in my opinion, kind of gimmicky, at least from the stuff that I can recall from like the visual standpoint, because we didn't stay there for very long. They only give you 45 minutes to be able to enjoy the experience. And we used 30 of them for 2 drinks, one for me and one for Anna. But you know, you know my reservations on brightly colored drinks anyways. There's a time and a place for it. And I suppose Star Wars is kind of the time and the place for it. I see Cosmo out there saying, have a good night, my friend. Oh, absolutely. Right back in your direction. Darth Malort. Yeah, that's an idea. I like that idea. I actually had instead of going for the cocktail menu, I actually gravitated towards the beer menu because I found that the beers that they offer at Oga's Cantina are exclusive to Oga's Cantina, and I think they had like 5 or 6 options, and one of them was advertised as an ube drink, an ube beer. But what kind of ube beer? I tracked it in my Untapped app. What kind of ube beer? It was an ube hazy IPA beers. IPA beers tend to be on the bitter side. They tend to use hops as a prominent flavoring agent, and it was ube. It was kind of purple. It had a flavor to it that was almost a little bit desserty in a way. And before I got the beer, he's like, by the way, this is a dessert beer. It's kind of on the sweeter side. Are you okay with that? And I thought I was like, yeah, I'm willing to explore here. And my flavor notes on the Jogan Blossom Hazy IPA, the Ube, the Purple Yam IPA beer that they had, was that it had had a very creamy flavor for an IPA, mildly caramelly, with a drying hoppiness, mildly sweet, pretty desserty, all things considered, but not super duper, not cloyingly sweet. And for something that the bartender, I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but for something, or rather our server, for something that our server referred to as being dessert beer, it wasn't super desserty to me, but it was intriguing, and I did enjoy it, and I think I enjoyed it better than I did the kind of cocktail options that they had there. Admittedly, we only had one, and maybe one of these days we do a little bit more of a whole, like, flights, or a retrospective or overview of the various different beers that they've got at Oga's Cantina and the cocktails that they have at Oga's Cantina. It's cool because that particular beer, like I said, is exclusive to either the Disneyland Oga's Cantina or just Oga's Cantina in general. And I use Untappd, UNTAPPD, for all of my beer tracking and stuff like that. And if you click on Oga's Cantina at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, a bar restaurant in Anaheim, California, United States, the other beers that they have there include the Bad Motivator IPA, the Gold Squadron Lager, Gamorrean Ale, White Wampa Ale, Trandoshan Ale, and that Jogan Blossom Hazy IPA. So there were 6 different options, and I only tried one of them. And I don't recall whether or not they had any flights on the menu, but if they did have a flight, one of these days I'd like to go back there and try something a little bit new there. Whew. And that's all I got, dude. That was my whole adventure. Among other things that, just to very, very quickly gloss through it, we spent the entirety of our last day on the trip, aside from our travel day, in Disneyland. And not California Adventure, but we got to go pretty much around the whole park, doing all the different rides that we weren't necessarily able to do in Disney World, because we've gone to Disney World a number of times. It was our first time in Disneyland. In particular, it was funny because, man, I have such brain fog right now. But what I remember most prominently was the Paint the Night Parade. It was beautiful to watch, and to watch the look on Anna's face of her in her happy place after a long time was just something that I can't describe in any other way other than just beautiful. It was really beautiful to watch, not only the parade, but also the reaction of somebody who is a total Disnerd really being in her elements. Anna and I were talking, and she was saying that there's a certain vibe that she gets watching me in my element, whether it's behind this camera or whether it's in a cocktail bar just nerding out about cocktail culture. And there was something to be said, too, about the beauty of watching one of the most important people in your world in their elements, just living in it. It was beautiful. And on a similar note, we went on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride twice. And if you're not familiar with Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, it's a dark ride where you sit in a little cart and you ride around recreating the story of Mr. Toad, where he winds up drunkenly driving through the town, evading arrest, running into stands, and eventually dying by making extreme contact with a train and correspondingly being sent to hell. There's a room on this ride that is quite literally hell. There's the devil, there is imps, there is fire, and it is uncomfortably humid and uncomfortably hot in that particular room. And we did it twice, because the wait line was very, very short right before the ending show that we wanted to go see. A wild ride indeed. Anyways, I see Cosmo saying, I haven't enjoyed beer nearly as much since I tried a mead crash course. Yeah, man. I like mead. But I also like, there's so many different categories of beer. There's also I feel like there's less categories of mead than there are of beer, but there's always so many different, there's so much more layers of things the more that you look in things. But that's a rant for another day. So just as a very, 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 very quick summary, for anybody who's popping in here a little bit later, I'm jet lagged. I'm a bit hungry. and I have a little bit of a headache because I was traveling all day today, and I wasn't necessarily expecting to be talking for 4 hours. My apologies, but thank you so much for joining me. Essentially, I went to California for a few days. We went to wine country, and I brought back grape brandies of various different flavors, including a blueberry flavor, a geranium flower flavor, and a petite grain flavor, which is essentially the branches and leaves of the orange tree. And we also brought back a lemon drop cocktail, which I really didn't pop into this stream, but these bottles may be making an appearance on future streams because they'll be added to the bar stock here. So they're available for cocktail requests or anything like that, infinity bottle redemptions. They're all infinity redeemable too, including this lemon drop cocktail. Actually, it's not filtered, so that will not be available for infinity bottle redemption. I had some nice wines at V Satui Winery, which was where the wedding was held, which was wonderful. We wound up making our way down to Berkeley, where we went to a sake museum, where I learned even more information on sake than I ever knew, as well as what makes sake distinctly different from beer and wine, in that there is a parallel fermentation process where the conversion from starch to sugar, like you'd see in beer making, and the process of converting sugar into alcohol, like you see in all ferments, all happen at the same time, which I think is kind of unique. Didn't wind up taking any sakes home with me, but I did learn a lot about that on the trip. And then we went over to Disneyland in Anaheim, taking a flight down from North California down to South California, where we went to a number of different bars, including Din Tai Fung, a Taiwanese restaurant where I had a Taiwanese whiskey old-fashioned using oolong syrup. We went to Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar, where we shared a couple of drinks between Anna and I. One that I got, that was an Angolata. One that Anna got, which had piranha in the name. I can't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure it was kind of apricot-based. And I took you all along for the journey amidst some interesting internet connection issues. And then Anna and I went to the Broken Spell Lounge, where we had 3 drinks total between the 3 of us. There was a fairy potion spread of a blue potion, a red potion, and a green potion for each of the fairies from Cinderella, I believe. I had an Inca Orchid cocktail, which featured prominently mezcal and chicha morada in the style of a margarita in a way, at least that's the way that it tasted to me. I also had an aquavit sour, which was pickly and tart and balanced. It was an eye-opening cocktail, as well as just having a very nice conversation with the bartender who we were chatting with there. There were a number of bartenders that we saw throughout the journey, a number of spirits that we tried, wines that we tried, and even a beer that I got to try at Oga's Cantina in Disneyland, among the other experiences that we had in Disneyland. It was my first time going there. We didn't get to go to California Adventure, but it was a total blast. One of these days, I'm hoping to make my way back to California again, but until then, I am very, very tired. So that's why I'm ending things. Appreciate everybody for joining me. I appreciate everybody for sticking around for me vamping and ranting for almost 4 hours straight. My voice can feel it. Everything can feel it. But honestly, I'm into it. To everybody out there, thanks so much for joining me towards this very, very tiresome edge here. We also did the infinity bottle. We added some geranium brandy into it, and I made a screwdriver from it, and I'm not a big fan of the screwdriver. To everybody out there, good night. Good night, everybody. I am tired. We'll see you all again on Monday at the normal time, Wednesday at the normal time, where we will continue doing Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I'm working on more inspired drinks, and I hope to have more of them coming out to you guys soon. More details another time. Cheers to you all. Thanks for keeping me company. I'll see you all on Monday. Bye.